Jordan, if you look at this,
than nothing.
I don't believe there was a version that was presented without the money going to Ukraine and the other issues.
That is, you're wrong. Real quick, when you said that your family is involved in vetting these people, they don't work for the government, do they?
No, they do not.
They're fucking insane, aren't they? You guys are doing some wild fucking border shit, like some crazy white trash rednecks, aren't you?
Well, my mother's Nicaraguan, so that makes no sense.
So what do you mean by they're involved in vetting and doing crazy shit with immigrants? What are you talking? And they don't work for the government. They're not part of the government. Are they working for the NGOs that you say are stealing money?
There are NGOs that are stealing money. There are NGOs that are doing their job. Absolutely.
What is your family's position that they're vetting immigrants and stuff, but they don't work for the government?
No, we don't vet many. But my mother was directly working with members of Congress to look and investigate into people who snuck in through the asylum system.
Wait, is she a private investigator? Is she Death Note? What do you mean? What do you mean she was working with members of Congress?
That's funny. No, she started her own nonprofit organization that was to deal.
What do you think of LMNT propaganda, like, is sodium good or bad for you? What is LMNT? Like, you do need sodium in your diet. It's just that it's usually these like low carb or carnivore diet influencers who try to make it seem as though
I had somebody point.
You can have like practically as much salt as you want.
These are so.
Today I'm.
Let's talk about.
Participate.
Tell me to come back.
Already watched that.
I've sort of taken.
Guys, ever wanted to become a real Sigma male? Do you want to know what it takes to be a man and how to
What do you think of Returnal? I've never played it. I heard it's like not even a full price game, but they were charging like $90 for it, so I never bought it.
Sense to a new level of masculinity? Well guys, do I have an answer?
I'm going to give you such a dirty dog dicking when you're out again. I know that Nick Richard isn't piping you right, babe. I know how to hit the spots. That pussy is mine, Jasmine, babe, you told me so. Oh, this is Jasmine's phone number. Awkward. Disregard.
Alright, well thank you for clearing that up. Thanks for the donation, Ask Yourself.
For you. It is not therapy, and it is actually not even the ancient wisdom of Andrew Tate. We now have a new way to achieve peak masculinity, because the Russian Andrew Tate has officially dropped. And he is absolutely insane.
Когда я вел свой первый тестостерон-релиз в 2015 году, Андрюша Титов с братом в KFC собирал наггетсы за посетителями, которых оставили у себя в корзинках.
Yes, guys, you might imagine that Russia is a country that is currently preoccupied with pretty serious issues like a war going on, and you might think that Russia is not really invested in this entire culture war and this discourse about gender and masculinity and all of that. Well, no. That is quite incorrect, and I'm here to tell you about it. What is up, guys? It is your boy Roman, your favorite neighborhood Russian, and in today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at the legendary Russian version of Andrew Tate known as Arsen Markaryan. Why do I say that he's the Russian Andrew Tate? Well, they have a lot of similarities. Arsen is currently one of...
What graphics card is the PS5 Pro? I thought the PS5 didn't technically have a graphics card, it just had an APU with shared memory. I have no idea what's in the PS5 Pro, though. How am I? I am hungry and tired. As always, constantly, non-stop, and it's relentless. I am taking a diet break tomorrow, though. I'm gonna pick up some vegan Chinese food. Eat all I fucking want. Because, I really need a break. Yeah, I weighed in at 218 this morning. So I'm quite a bit lighter than when I started. Lost 58 pounds so far in the last 11 weeks. What happens when you starve yourself? Well, you feel hungry constantly. You want food. Probably the worst symptom that I've had so far is just like a massive, massive drop in blood pressure. My blood pressure is super fucking low. I almost like fell on the floor last night because I had to close my room door. And then when I got up, I started to faint, and then I was shaking like fucking crazy, trying to hold myself up. And because like all the blood was like out of my head or something, I didn't know where I was. I was like thinking I was on an alien spaceship or something.
One of the most controversial personalities on Russian YouTube and Russian Twitter and so on, and he claims to provide advice to young men, yaps a lot about how women are basically not human, and he even also has his own Hustlers University type thing, where he...
Do you think Ozempic would save lives if every American could get it for free? If so, how many? Well, just look at all the semaglutide trials. People who are on semaglutide have a lower risk of dying, so it does reduce all-cause mortality. Wouldn't be able to tell you how much over, the course of a few decades, but it does reduce all-cause mortality.
copied Andrew Tate's entire growth strategy, and he's...
What size am I in clothes? I can just barely fit into an extra large, but usually I'm a 2XL or more. So these days it's usually 2, 3XL.
He's out there currently on the Russian internet being based, and he's making millions of dollars off of young, lonely Russian men. Oh, and also there might be evidence out there that this fella is also a PDF file. Yes, guys, I hate using these YouTube euphemisms, but game is game, you know what I'm saying? So, who is Arsen Markaryan? Arsen Markaryan was born in 1995 in the city of Samara in Russia. Essentially, to put it short, he's kind of a martial artist and a lifestyle guru type guy. He's actually not ethnically Russian, but ethnically Armenian. And otherwise, he seems like a pretty regular person. I mean, he tells a lot of stories about how he was growing up. He talks a lot about how he was bullied in school growing up in Russia, specifically for being Armenian, for being a minority. Although a ton of his stories do seem very over-exaggerated, and that is a pattern that is going to continue with this guy. He essentially claims to have participated and mastered every single martial art that exists in this universe, pretty much.
Если я сейчас буду перечислять, где выступал, это будет вот так. Вот это динамовская рукопашка, это универсальный бой, тайский бокс, кикбоксинг, там full контакт, light контакт, это смешанный, это грэпплинг, это кудо, там К1. Если человек аналитического склада ума, он может смотреть на дефекацию коровы и что-то понять про эту жизнь.
And he also just flat out lies and over-exaggerates his wins or his achievements in sports in general. He claims to have won a Russian championship of kickboxing once, so...
Я в 13 лет был серебряным призером чемпионата России по юниорам по кикбоксингу. По-хорошему я его победил.
Once again, guys, Andrew Tate parallel right here. This is gonna get uncanny. However, Andrew Tate did actually win, and there's proof of it. When it comes to Arsen, he's never actually provided any proof of him winning any championships, and if you try to look it up, you can't really find anything. The only videos of Arsen doing martial arts that are available are just like random videos taken in like schools. The guy basically claims to be a superhuman athlete, and he's actually even gone so far in his fantasies that in his podcast he says that he's actually about to become a champion of the UFC.
Сейчас какие цели стоят? Стать чемпионом UFC, поэтому 5 лет и буду там.
And he's been essentially...
Remember when you said we are all essentially apes and that's why we support Hamas? Will this cute from Escape from the Planet of the Apes sum us that up correctly?
Caesar, your servant, your creature, your animal. But I saw you die. The king is dead. Long live the king! Tell me, Breck, before you die, how do we differ from the dogs and cats you and your kind used to love? Why did you turn us from pets into slaves?
Because your kind were once our ancestors. Man was born of the ape. And there's still an ape curled up inside of every man. The beast that must be whipped into submission. The savage that has to be shackled in chains. You are that beast, Caesar. You taint us. You poison our guts. When we hate you, we're hating the dark side of ourselves.
That was stupid. Yeah, that was one of the terrible sequels. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Currently 80 hours in a 4-day water fast. Keep up your weight loss. My advice to you is to not do water fasts. They're fucking stupid. Call Tefano on the phone. If I had his number, I would, but I don't have his number.
Actually saying for about 3 years now that I need 2 years to become a champion of UFC. Still nothing so far. He's only become a Russian Andrew Tate in the last 2 years, but I'm not gonna put it past him, sure. He might have confused UFC with KFC. But look, once again, I'm not the one to talk shit. I'm not exactly a muscular, fit guy. Arsene would definitely run my fate, you know what I'm saying? But his entire thing basically is that he claims to be the smartest, the strongest guy in the world who's like just the ultimate male. He promotes a pretty general red pill view on masculinity and on women, in kind of a similar vein to Andrew Tate or any other, you know, manosphere influencer. He's at war against feminist, monogamous, gold digger women, you know what I mean? And he also...
Still the statement is true that there is still an ape inside every man.
Yeah, I suppose so. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Also has a brother, just like Andrew Tate. Andrew has Tristan Tate, but Arsene Markaryan has Armen Markaryan. Yes, this does sound like some Luigi and Waluigi type shit, but some Armenian names are just kind of similar. One thing I do find insane about Arsene Markaryan, the Russian Andrew Tate, though, is that he basically looks like a completely different person in like every single video that I see him. In one video he has a full beard and in the other he has none. He's either looking like a Roman soldier, you know, or he's fully bald, he's skinny, or like, I do not know what this guy looks like. I guess it's probably because he can just grow a beard in like 2 days. Like some of my Georgian friends, for example, they can grow a beard in 2 days or 1 day. Sometimes they have a lot of testosterone. But I do find it really funny and interesting though how the ultimate alpha male, sigma male, red pill aficionado in Russia is ethnically an Armenian Caucasian guy, right? So just proves, you know, that Caucasians are the ultimate giga chats as compared to those pasty white boys in Russia. And like I already said, Arsene Markaryan makes a lot of money. He runs his own private Telegram channel, which is a lot like Hustlers University that Andrew Tate had. He has about 60,000 members in his secret club, who each pay him 1,500 rubles per month to be in the chat. So that means that technically, he's making about 90 million rubles in a month, or about $1.06 million per month. So yes guys, just think—
Which is why we as a species support horrific things such as Hamas, just like you said.
Yes, that is correct. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
About that for a second and let that sink in. That is absolutely fucking ridiculous. That is absolutely insane. And Arsene actually does not live in Russia, and supposedly, from what I've seen, he's at least not—
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
I know guys, the bar is very low at this point for, you know, Russian influencers, but from what I've seen from him, he's supposed to be like, kind of like an anti-Vatnik, anti-Putin guy. He doesn't speak much about politics, he doesn't criticize propaganda or something, but he's not bootlicking the Russian government for sure. So that's at least good that, you know, the Russian Andrew Tate is not Z, unlike the real Andrew Tate, of course. And the main way that this Russian Armenian—
I have to get more cozy. It is very cold downstairs for some reason. It was actually a warm day, but it's fucking cold down here. Yes. Now, this is cozy.
Andrew Tate has gotten his popularities by doing a lot of podcasts and interview appearances. There is literally like 6 podcasts that are 5 hours long each, uploaded every day with this fucking guy. So let's look at some of his clips and see the truth.
Вот многие люди не понимают, что такое депрессия. Я скажу, что такое депрессия. Депрессия никогда грустно. Депрессия — это когда тебе похуй, что твоя жизнь разрушается, и ты просто смотришь на это. Да. Когда вот тебе приходит твоя девушка и говорит: у меня бабушка умерла, ты такой: Акс идет на мир. Да? То есть это не про это. Когда мне говорят: ты набрал лишний вес, ты же там это... Пацаны, мне похуй, у меня могли родители на глазах умереть в этот период жизни, я бы не моргнул. Это такой вообще дальний порядок вопрос. И, соответственно, уже когда выходишь из этих состояний, ну, ты, блядь, борешься с теми привычками нейронными, которые ты наработал, ебланскими. Да, факт. Да?
Me as fuck.
Он может смотреть на дефекацию коровы.
I mean, guys, he didn't even necessarily say anything wrong here. He's just talking about depression. This is not even like a red pill thing. I just want to show you the format, right? Russia is just like you guys. We also have fucking base Sigma chats with subtitles, talking over Sigma funk music, playing in the backgrounds. It's exactly the same. People in Russia are also talking about the same exact dumb shit, about this gender war or whatever. We are not that different from you guys.
У тебя есть отвращение к девушкам, у которых много половых партнеров?
Да.
На физиологическом уровне?
Конечно.
У Саши Грей сколько было половых партнеров? Бог знает только. Ты видел у Ивана Урганта на шоу?
Да, смотрел.
У тебя было омерзение, когда ты его смотрел? Вот и все. Она в своем кредо.
YouTube Shorts is so fucking dumb, dude. Like, there is never any point being made, ever. I don't even know how really to react to this. It's just like ADHD editing, Sigma funk music, and you make 50,000 of these and people actually listen to what you have to say. Apparently this is how it fucking works. Just say like nonsense, no story, no start, no finish, no points. What is happening? The internet is slop. I can't believe this.
Никогда не думал, почему арабов, сомалийцев и сирийцев пускают в Германию и турков только так, а русских ебут в хвост и в гриву и не дают визу. Почему? Потому что русский человек — это не скотина. Он придет аккуратно, чисто, будет работать. И...
I accidentally had way too much salt on my pasta dish. What would you do?
Maybe double the portion size and then mix it around so the salt is more spread out.
Destroy him, don't scam.
Okay, I'll take a look at that in a second. Thanks for the donation, DD. So I'd probably double the portion size and then just... that'll even out the salt. Thanks for the donation, though, Pasta.
This video is...
Well, I already know this is going to be pointless to watch.
It's probably going to get me into some trouble. But I can't avoid talking about this anymore. More than anything, I think it was my own denial that kept me from figuring it out well enough to be able to speak about it. I'm almost 50 years old, and I thought that by now, when my life is probably more than half over, I would not have much more to learn about human nature, but I was wrong. Even to this day, I am continually shocked about how much more cruel and ignorant human beings are. Now, when I was a little boy, I thought the adults were so knowledgeable, and they had everything under control. Powerful people in elected offices, the president, Congress, governors, mayors, etc., were supposed to be the best of us. That's what I thought, anyway. But as an adult, with more understanding about the world, it has become very disconcerting to listen to these people talk and realize just how dumb and dishonest they are. And they're the ones in control. But who put them there? My own neighbors, my fellow Americans. We are a species of terrifying diversity. And I don't mean diversity in the modern sense of race and gender. I mean it in the sense that there are some human beings who are capable of discovering the Higgs boson, while others can't even figure out that the fucking earth is round or that dinosaurs existed. And that wouldn't be such a problem if the ignorant at least understood that they're ignorant. But they don't. They're arrogant and confident. And it seems like the ignorant are becoming more influential because they have no respect for the knowledgeable. My most recent disillusionment has been a tough pill to swallow. And it is this. I've wasted so much time arguing about genocide in the Bible. Did you know that the Bible claims that God commanded Israelites to kill children and babies? I'd ask. And there's no arguing about whether it is claimed in the Bible that the God character made such commands. They're pretty explicit. Nobody can deny it. Every apologist admits it. And they have various excuses, right? God must have had a good reason, they say. Perhaps God knew that they would be evil. Perhaps they'd seek revenge if they were allowed to grow up. It was best for them because they got to go to heaven. God created life so God can take life. They needed to be totally wiped out because they were evil people who did child sacrifice, so they all needed to die, even their children. You've all heard the excuses. But you know what I've realized as I've reached nearly a half century in age? I've realized the hard truth. And the truth is, they don't care. The excuses they give for the God of the Bible aren't really excuses for God. They're excuses for themselves. So
we've been doing it wrong the whole fucking time. I'm gonna start doing stomach decline presses for maximum gains. Maybe it'll help me shit more.
He's doing it with elbow wraps too. That's super fucking cringe. Yeah, these fucking kids. Oh, I don't even think he's a kid. No, that's a retarded grown-ass man. Yeah, that's a retarded grown-ass man who doesn't know how to lift. I don't even know why they go to the gym, dude. Thanks for the donation, Killing Titan.
In the words of Maroon 5, don't tell no lie, 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 you can't deny NY, the beast inside, side, yeah, no girl, don't lie, 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 no, girl don't lie, you can't deny NY, you can't deny, the beast inside, side.
Never listened to Maroon 5. That song sounds gay. Thanks for that donation, Dodo.
Footage from Kanefsky's friend Dana trolling at the Olympia. He has a couple bits where he trolls Joey Swoon.
Alright, cool. We'll watch that next. Thanks for that donation, nigga.
so that they can pretend to be moral. The truth is, they don't care about the slaughter of children, and they don't care about whether God commanded it or not. How could I say such a thing? Well, because it's happening right now as I speak these words, and they still don't care. And this time...
Yeah, I wonder if this guy's vegan. Yeah, I don't see anything about him being vegan. If you have a problem with horrible violence like genocide, then maybe you should go vegan. Calling other people horrible hypocrites for justifying violence when you do that with your meal choices doesn't make you any better. There we go.
They don't even have the excuse that God commanded it, because it's not in a so-called holy book to tell them what to think. Once again, the Israelites are slaughtering children and entire neighborhoods. And what are the good Christians of America?
Killing Titan donated $3. Somebody even made that into a cosplay. That's pretty cool. Somebody got a tattoo of that. Yeah, that's Squidward dressed up as a salmon. Thanks for the donation, Killing Titan.
America doing about it? They're sending them weapons and money, that's what. And this is one of the very few bipartisan issues that exist. So it's not like you can just vote the problem away. Though while Trump has always provided an
Vegan pepperoni nips donated $2. Let me see.
James Niggemeyer here. A lot of people have been hitting me up on Instagram and texting me.
His name's Niggemeyer.
Where's the merch? And I appreciate everyone's patience through this entire process. Finally got it sourced out to DeVilleOriginals.com. I'll post that information in the link below, but here it is. James Niggemeyer merch, ready to go. They are live on the website now and available in medium all the way to triple extra large, available in gray and black.
Dude, what a unfortunate name. Niggemeyer.
Turn that shit off!
Nickelback is terrible. Okay, thank you for the donation, Vegan Pepperoni Nips.
Expressed strong support for Israel with our tax dollars. I will say that at least the Democrats are starting to express some willingness to withhold support, a baby step in the right direction. It's a lie that they try to avoid civilian casualties.
Oh, here we go, the Israel-Palestine thing. It's a lie they try to avoid civilian casualties. Please explain to me why they have the best civilian to militant casualty
Do
ratio
your
of any
classic
mil-
bicep flex and say, and as always keep making those vegan, vegetarian, and predominantly plant-based diet gains.
No, I'm not going to do that for you. Thanks for the donation, though, Charles. Yeah, so if Israel was not trying to avoid civilian casualties, please explain to me why they have the best militant to civilian casualty ratio of any military that is engaged in urban combat. Please explain to me why they tell people to evacuate. They have asked for mass evacuations, the most recent one being in northern Gaza. They drop leaflets, flyers, they contact cell phone numbers with QR codes for safe zones, they call buildings before they're about to be bombed, and they've also been facilitating humanitarian aid, so people are getting food. So if they're not trying to minimize civilian casualties, how do you explain all of that?
The truth is the perfect opposite. They seek civilian casualties. No damage is considered collateral. They shoot people on sight. They tell you where to go to find...
Again, no sources. He has no sources, no evidence. These are just baseless fucking claims, and he cannot explain, again, why Israel has the best militant civilian casualty ratio, unless he's willing to admit, oh, every single military does that. It's just, which would be ridiculous.
Find safety and then attack the so-called safe places and cut off any aid to those places. They give you their
They don't cut off aid, and they don't attack safe zones. The unfortunate reality is Hamas hides in these safe zones. So they have had a small amount of targeted strikes using low-yield explosives to take out some of these Hamas members. There have been 2 occasions where there was a disproportionate amount of civilian casualties, but that's not even Israel's fault. That's Hamas's fault. The 2 occasions in question, Hamas hid munitions that ended up exploding and killing other people, so they're secondary explosions. So Israel wasn't to blame for that. So if you're going to blame anyone, why doesn't he blame Hamas?
Called warnings in English, not for the non-English speakers they target.
They don't give warnings in English. They give warnings in Arabic, which is the language that people speak in Palestine, so that's just a lie.
But for us, so that we believe that they're the good guys. They deny them food, water, and medicine with black...
They are not denying them food, water, and medicine. In fact, just recently, there was a mass amount of vaccinations for polio.
Oh my god, Dark Matter is a Hamas supporter. What a shame. I liked his content. All respect gone now.
Yeah, I didn't realize this guy was fucking retard. He's genuinely retarded. He's claiming they're denying them medicine. Where's the evidence for that? And again, there was just recently a round of mass vaccinations where I think they were able to vaccinate over 80% of the Gazan population. So if Israel was denying medicines, how were they able to vaccinate 80% of the Gazan population? This guy is literally just flat out lying and making shit up.
Blockades and even outright attacks against aid workers, the children who aren't buried under...
They didn't just attack aid workers. There was, I think, 1 or 2 instances where they accidentally fired on aid vehicles. That was clearly an accident. I don't know why Israel would have any interest in attacking aid workers. This is just ridiculous. Hamas, however, has actually attacked aid workers.
Why do people get so worked up about genocide and killing innocent babies? At the end of the day, we all live very short, meaningless lives. And we're all headed to the same place, whether we get genocided, hit by a truck, or die of natural causes.
I guess it's because people want to live, and most people also aren't nihilists. So that's probably the 2 reasons why. Thanks for the big donation, though, Jason Casper. Really appreciate that.
Their rubble are slowly being starved to death, and they don't care.
They're not being starved to death. There is not mass famine in Gaza. There is more food going into Gaza currently than there was pre-war. So, no.
There are conservative Christians in the United States who will cry out about an aborted 6-week-old fetus that doesn't even yet have the equipment for consciousness. Yet when faced with starving toddlers or children blown to pieces, they'll say that Israel has the right to defend itself. They claim to be pro-life and pro-family, except for when...
I'm going to leave another comment. Literally everything you said about Israel is a complete lie. For one thing, you claimed that they are deliberately trying to maximize civilian casualties. That seems impossible since they have the best militant to civilian casualty ratio of any military that has engaged in urban combat. On top of that, they have called for mass evacuations. They give out warnings in Arabic not in English like you claimed, and they don't bomb safe zones. They have had to strike Hamas targets within safe zones because Hamas uses human shields, but why aren't you criticizing Hamas? Why aren't you criticizing Hamas for these civilian casualties? You also claimed that Israel is blocking food and medicine. Again, this is just a lie. More food is going into Gaza post-war than pre-war, and medicines are entering Gaza. Just recently, there was a mass vaccination campaign against polio where they were able to inoculate over 80% of the Gazan population. If Israel is blocking food and medicine, how would this be possible? If you'd like to debate me on this topic, feel free to reach out anytime. There we go.
Jews, both within the borders of Israel and beyond, who do not support this genocide. So any Nazis who thought they were about to find a fellow anti-Semite in me can fuck right off too. And I know there are Christians who don't support it as well. But I'm specifically talking about the ones who make excuses and then argue with me about morality. And they would scoff at me, an atheist, for defending these slaughtered people. Why don't you go over there, they say. Don't you know that they would put you to death for being an atheist, they say. They laugh at people holding a Queers for Palestine sign. They make jokes about it. Ha ha. That's like saying sheep for the wolves. Ha ha. That's like saying gays for rooftops. Ha ha. They're so dumb and delusional, right? I mean, you can even listen to Bill Maher joke about it from the comfort of his studio. You know what that is? It's mass guilt by association. If you're in that part of the world, then you hold this opinion, period. Is that true? Or is that just what you're told, and so you believe, like a simpleton? Do you think there are no Christians, Jews, or moderate Muslims in Palestine? Do you think there are no gay people in Palestine? Do you think there are no...
Oh, there's gay people in Palestine. They either flee to Israel and end up getting citizenship by claiming asylum, or they have to hide, not be publicly gay, and hope they don't get caught by Hamas, who will execute them. By the way, Hamas has had majority support in Gaza for the last couple decades. So the idea that most Gazans aren't ideologically aligned with Hamas is just fucking stupid. Like, yeah, sure, there's moderate Muslims. There aren't any Jews in Gaza. I don't think he understands that Israel pulled out every single Israeli from Gaza. And there's a few Christians, but they're all Muslims, and majority are ideologically aligned with Hamas. Kid Boo donated $2. Let me see. Top battlegrounds, RCP average. Who the fuck cares? Polling data doesn't really give you any predictive ability. Thanks for that donation, Kid Boo.
No atheists in Palestine? You think there are no people in Palestine who want religious liberation from extremists? Of course there are, and they're oppressed. People have risked their lives to send me messages from such places just to express appreciation for my YouTube videos, and I've had to tell them to please not take such risks. I know you're out there. The Pakistani government manually bans my videos. I get emails from YouTube telling me so. Before they did that, I used to get messages from atheists in Pakistan. I've gotten messages from atheists in Iran, Iraq, Egypt, Lebanon, and even Gaza years before this happened.
So it's funny how he mentioned Iran. Most Iranians don't support their government. You can't compare Iran to Gaza. Again, Hamas was democratically elected in Gaza. And when you look at all polling data leading up to October 7th, Hamas had majority support. Even in the West Bank, Hamas has majority support. If there were to be like an election between Hamas and the PLO, Hamas would win in the West Bank.
Stop blindly believing the people in control of the narrative. The answer to their oppression is not to kill their children and wipe out their neighborhoods. Even if every single person in Gaza believed that all atheists should be executed and all gay people tossed from rooftops, do you think that means we should want to see their babies starved to death or blown to pieces?
Oh my god. Yeah, so this is the old, if any civilians die in war, it's immoral. So I guess Allied involvement in World War II was immoral because 500,000 German civilians died. Like, I don't know why they make this argument. It's just ridiculous. Like, no shit. In urban warfare, civilians are gonna die.
Indiscriminate death sentences all around? How would that make us any better? How would that not create a...
I thought you just said polling data doesn't matter, bitch nigga.
Yeah, for a fucking election, dipshit. For predicting an election. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo.
Precedent for them to follow against our children. As an American, are you guilty for everything America has done? As an American, are you in favor of everything America has done? Because that's the mentality being expressed here. Some extremists in Palestine would kill gay people. Therefore...
Well, look, this is stupid. So, not every American is going to be ideologically aligned with their government. That's true. But, if, like, the U.S. were to become, like, fascist, and they invaded some other country and started just murdering innocent people and trying to commit a genocide, if you're a part of that society who has allowed that to happen, you are in some way responsible due to your complacency. So when you have a large amount of people who are complacent when their government does horrible things, yeah, to some degree you are, and you have to bear the burden of those consequences.
Or you shouldn't care if their children are butchered, an entire neighbor...
Well, Dark Matter made Pakistan banned your ass because you were preaching hate as well as face information.
I don't think that's why Pakistan banned him, but thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Neighborhoods are leveled. Is that the cure for extremism? If someone slaughtered your kids and destroyed your home, is that going to make you less extreme or more? Is that going to make you surrender or fight back like you have nothing left to lose? If you get a call from your child's school tomorrow saying that they're very sorry, but someone from Yemen just slit your child's throat because we dropped bombs on their cities, are you just going to shrug your shoulders and say, well, it's only fair. Yemen had a right to defend itself, which...
By the way, the war in Yemen is between Arabs and Persians. So, what is he talking about? Why is he bringing that up?
For some reason entails the slaughter of your child. I mean, that's what you're doing now. But it's okay because it's other people's kids, not yours. So it's only fair, right? And that's the real crux of the issue. We are so far removed from genocide that it's abstract to anyone without proper experience or imagination. We get so lost in our first world country and our first world problems that starving children aren't even real to us. Starving children are an infomercial at midnight. Starving children are a picture of Africa or India in a textbook printed in the 1970s.
If he cares about starving children, then maybe he would want to destroy Hamas and cause a regime change in Iran. That seems to be the fundamental reason why there's food insecurity in these regions.
70s. Starving children are the words uttered by a protester you just want to run over with your SUV as you leave the McDonald's drive-thru. But if you saw a skeletal baby lying on a sidewalk, still breathing, you would do something about it, wouldn't you? You would stop and help, right?
Nah,
if you saw a
probably wouldn't.
collapsed house and heard people crying out for help from within, you would do something about it, wouldn't you? You'd either help or you'd immediately call for help, even if you're a Christian who defends biblical genocide, right? You'd help if you saw it with your own eyes and heard it with your own ears in proximity to the actual event itself, right? You'd help, wouldn't you? The reason you don't care about the genocide happening right now is because it's just not real enough to you. And that's the exact same reason you don't care about the genocides in the Bible. They're just not real enough to you. They happened too long ago and too far away. And that's why I've wasted so much time arguing about it, because no matter how many excuses you came up with or parroted, they were all bullshit. All that talk about atheists not having a grounding for their moral values was just complete brains of children.
Well, this guy is dumb.
I'll outlive anybody here. What's this gay ass shit, bro? It's called the booty shot, man. Man, this shit gay. It's gay.
No one's safe, you bitch.
Put me on next. I'll outlive anybody here. Anybody. Get out of here. Anybody. Are you serious right now? Are you serious right now? No, I'm serious. Let's go, baby. Biggest. Let's go, baby. Come on, there it is. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I'm the biggest guy here, bro. Hell yeah. Oh, appreciate it, man. What's up, bro? What's up, bro? How you doing? All right, so a little backstory on this guy. A couple weeks ago, I made this video. Hey, you mind if I work in with you real quick? What's your phone number?
You're gonna call me?
You were texting? Text day?
This is what I do, brother. I help veterans all over the world. They're texting me, they're homeless. I'm trying to get them resources.
Trump was significantly down in the polls in 2016 and 2020 and still majorly outperformed all of them. So if Trump is leading now, that means it's gonna be a blowout. Trump is even gonna win the popular vote. Get ready, cause my nigga Trump is coming back, bitch.
Probably not, but hopefully Hassan gets deported if Trump comes back. It's one thing I hope will happen if there's a Trump presidency. Thanks for that donation though, Kid Boo.
You could work in, you could do it.
Let's do it. What's your number?
You don't need my number.
I wanted to text you while we work.
What point you're making, brother?
I just wanted to text you while we work out.
I'm trying to help people.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm
great.
in here doing this, and I multitask whatever I want to do.
And then after it went viral, Joey Swole made a reaction to it, which was this.
Listen, I get that trolling people is how you make your social media content, which I don't agree with, nor do I think that you should film people without consent, especially in a situation like this. But as soon as that man tells you that he's doing veteran outreach, you should stop filming him immediately. And I agree that taking long periods of time between sets, sitting on a machine or a bench texting is bad gym etiquette. But that's not what this man is doing. It seems he just sat there on an empty bench, which he's not using to handle some pressing matter, maybe with a veteran. As soon as you walk up to him to ask him to work in, he gets up and he gives you the bench and walks away. And I want to ask you something. 22 veterans unalive themselves every single day. What if this man is talking some veteran off a ledge, but you want to use that as content for social media to shame this man?
Oh, Joey Swole and his moralizing.
Seriously? You need to do better. Mind your own business.
Even though Joey Swole's entire content is literally getting in other people's business, not to mention he's known for sending unsolicited dick pics to random girls and also involved in scamming his fans back in the day.
I still don't understand the word scandal. I mean, a lot of people say things like scam.
But that's another story. And then this guy commented on my video saying, I wish he would say this to me in person. And usually when someone says, I wish this person would say that to me, that technically means they're gonna fight you if you say it to him. So I commented back saying, are you gonna be at the Olympia? And he said, yes, absolutely. So I said, all right, look for the orange short shorts. And sure enough, here he was at the Olympia. So obviously I went up to him and I said word for word what I said to the other guy. Mind if I work in on your texting?
Oh, it's you.
Yeah.
Bro, fuck you.
Can I work it on the texting now?
Fuck you. What is
do you
that
mean?
even about? What is that even about?
You told me to say it to you.
No, but I'm saying, what's it about? Like, why pick on a fucking guy that's trying to help fucking vets and homeless?
How did I know he was trying to help veterans?
But you knew after you edited it, you posted like a dickhead to embarrass a fucking grown man.
What's the big deal?
How's it not a big deal?
Why is it a big deal?
How isn't it a big deal?
Why is it a big deal?
You're picking a dude that's helping people that are in fucking underprivileged positions in this country, vets and homeless, and you go, oh no, I'll take a fucking piss out of this guy.
This
and
is
post
like
him on socials, and you edit afterward and post it.
Listen, this is like comparing it to the one time I got arrested in California for doing a campus prank.
Right.
And they said I targeted Jews because it happened to be a Jew class.
Fuck that. I'm not saying that. Cool.
How the fuck do I know what he's doing?
Story. No, but you knew after you edited it, right?
So?
You knew. That's the point.
It's a funny
you
reaction.
Knew, but you're aware of it.
It's a funny reaction. It wasn't even bad.
But no,
aware
to
of
you
what?
it's not. But then that's your self-awareness. That's literally what you and your self-awareness.
Well, like,
to the people that watched it, it was bad.
The point is, you told me to say it to you, so.
No, I'm just saying the point is, if you say that to a wrong person in a situation, it's not going to go well.
Look, bro, at the end of the day.
What the fuck is with a water jug, by
At the end of the day, I'm the biggest guy here. That's all that matters, man.
Okay. At least you got the ability to say it to someone. The point is, to reflect on the content, do you think it was right?
Yeah.
Like if you look back at it
What's
now,
so wrong about it?
Because in the situation where the
To address the ideological problem of Islamist terrorism, Israelis try to remind Muslims of peaceful scripture, convince them Islam is peaceful. I feel this approach is more promising, trying to reform them rather than shaming, seems more viable. Thoughts?
No. All that does is give a place for radical Muslims to hide. That's all it does. And then it gaslights everybody else into thinking Islam is peaceful. We don't need to do anything to watch Muslim immigration, make sure Muslim radicals don't enter the country. That's just fucking stupid. The only way the religion is going to be reformed is if Muslims acknowledge there is retarded bullshit in their fucking scripture. That's it. Thanks for the donation, though, Mola. This guy is not funny.
The IDF recently confirmed that Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas and the face of evil behind the October 7th massacre, was killed in Rafah. Tonight we are declassifying footage of Sinwar from just a few hours before the October 7th massacre, as well as his movements inside Gaza as he fled over the past year. Yahya Sinwar spent years planning the October 7th attack. Each step was planned to maximize harm to Israeli and Gazan civilians and to minimize harm to himself and other terrorists. See for yourselves. This is a footage of Sinwar just hours before the October 7th massacre, where Sinwar was hiding his family and equipment, including beds, pillows.
Yep. These people are absolutely shameless. Dodo Tellers, you said you would give a tiger vegan cat food. What scientific evidence do you have? Ethical reasons isn't an argument. Can you answer? Also, can you be vegan and eat wild boar? Why do you dodge that question every time? Answer, Richard. I don't dodge. I fucking said. If it would reduce rights violations, and I guess assuming there's no risk of zoonotic disease transmission, then yeah, I wouldn't care if somebody hunted and ate wild boar for the same reasons I wouldn't care if somebody hunted and ate bears or lions or tigers or anything. And the reason I'd feed a tiger vegan cat food would be ethical reasons. I don't think there's any research on feeding a tiger vegan cat food, but I'd imagine they could live off of it just fine. Like, they are just cats. They're big cats, but they're just cats. I don't see why you couldn't feed a tiger cat food. Let me see if people have fed a tiger normal cat food.
It seems there's a new hype thing or driving semi-slick car needs to be poster worthy.
Jeez, that looks fucking crazy.
If he starts growling, it means he loves it. Come on, Diego. I think it's time I do this test quickly. And Enzo is already there. He's already starting to eat. He's going for the tuna first. Diego! Diego! You just show Diego over here. Diego! He's losing out a little, so Enzo is getting an advantage. Let me just show him here. Diego! There he sees it. He's coming for it. So, they've got taking it all out first. The smaller one is Soul. Hike, that is baby and mother cat food. Help him, but right there in his mouth. He's enjoying it. It means he loves it.
Yeah, tigers will eat normal cat food. I don't see why you can't feed a tiger just normal cat food or vegan cat food. Pizza, donate $2. Thoughts? Elon Musk is micro-targeting both of these ads simultaneously to different communities and swing states. MAGA's a post-truth movement. Kamala Harris stands with Israel. Two-Face Kamala Harris stands with Palestine, not our ally. That is hilarious. Wow. Yeah, Elon Musk is doing the exact same thing he accuses George Soros of doing. What a fucking scumbag. Thanks for the donation, Pizza. I have fed a tiger cat food before. Just kidding, I fed a cat tiger food. I see.
Hassan supports the 9/11 attacks and the October 7th attacks. He should go fuck himself and go back to Turkey. I wish we could trade Hassan in to get Big Lenny back.
I would trade Hassan's life for practically anyone. He really should get deported. Hassan, like, I do genuinely believe he should be forced back to Turkey. He should have his citizenship revoked. Like, what he's doing is just so fucking insane. Thanks for the donation, though, Vegan Tranny.
Food and water and a television. He was hiding it inside Hamas underground tunnel network. He was doing that all night alone with his family in order to keep his position classified. It was all happening in Khan Yunis. This was a luxury that the people of Gaza did not have.
Yep.
As Sinwar always prioritized himself, his money, and Hamas terrorists over the people of Gaza. While hiding in the tunnels of Khan Yunis, Sinwar ordered the October 7th attack to begin. After they invaded Israel, Sinwar's army of terrorists murdered families,
Jesus.
raped women,
People are
and
pieces of
kidnapped
shit.
men, women, children, and babies into Gaza. 101 of these hostages are still held in Gaza after a year in captivity under ruthless conditions. Throughout the war that Sinwar started, he continued to hide underneath the people of Gaza. In Khan Yunis in February, our troops found supplies meant for a long stay in Sinwar's underground hideout, including a lot of money, food, beds, documents, a shower, and a kitchen. Then IDF operations in Khan Yunis forced Sinwar to flee to Rafah. Last month, Sinwar's DNA was found on a piece of tissue he used. A few hundred meters from a tunnel where 6 Israeli hostages were brutally executed in Tel Sultan in Rafah. Then Sinwar fled yet again. While Sinwar was running for his life and went above the ground, this was the first and last time that he encountered Israeli soldiers in a combat. Sinwar was eliminated by the IDF in Rafah last Wednesday. I want to emphasize it again. This was the first and last time he encountered Israeli soldiers, and he was eliminated. There were no hostages with Sinwar when he was eliminated. Killing Sinwar is the result of a year of operational and intelligence efforts to bring him and other Hamas leaders to justice. Sinwar has been eliminated, but our mission is not over. We will not rest until we bring all our hostages home by any means possible, and we will continue to defend the people of Israel from all threats on all of our borders. Thank you.
Fucking based.
The power players of the Middle East, Israel and Iran. Two countries, one believed to have nuclear weapons and one with nuclear ambitions. Today, the debate about what needs to be done. It's raging across the world, and back here in Ottawa, the government and opposition are facing off over what comes next. Pierre Poilievre underlined his call for Israel to strike Iran's nuclear facility.
It would be a gift by the Jewish state to humanity.
Well, the Prime Minister said his goal is to encourage, quote, de-escalation across the region. Joining us now with his thoughts on the strategy and the shifting power in the Middle East is former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton. Nice to see you, Ambassador Bolton. Thanks for...
What is my favorite nut? Either cashews or pistachios.
making time for us.
Glad to be with you.
Looking at the current situation in the Middle East, it seems everything continues to escalate. Israel now fighting a multi-front war and confronting what to do on Iran. What is your take on how the war is unfolding so far and where you see it going?
Well, I think really there's been a region-wide war.
Hassan is nothing compared to Jackson Hinkle. Check out this pro-Russia, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, pro-dictatorships piece of shit.
Let me take a look.
Call Destiny and tell him how you think Hassan should be deported. I think he'll get a kick out of that.
I can do that for you. Let me see if he's on Discord. Yes. Hey, dude.
Hello?
Hey.
Hi, what's up? I'm on a short time span. What's up?
Sure. So I was thinking about some of the benefits that would occur under a Trump presidency. And we all know that he wants to cause mass deportation. Do you think it would be worth voting for Trump if it would mean Hassan would get deported back to Turkey?
Unfortunately, I don't think so, because when conservatives talk about deportation, they just do it in a very racist manner. And since Hassan is one of the whitest people in this country, he'd be one of the last to be deported. So,
What if, like, Trump publicly said the first thing he would do, like executive order as president, would be to deport Hassan? Would you vote for him then?
I'd have to think about it a lot.
Yeah, that would kind of make me want to vote for Trump. Like, there's a lot of bullshit that goes along with it, but Hassan going back to Turkey, that'd be pretty fucking sweet.
Well.
All right. Well, maybe, I don't know, maybe you can talk to, what's her name? Who's that chick who was banging Trump?
Oh, Laura Loomer?
Yeah, maybe you could convince her to convince Trump to deport Hassan.
Shoot her a DM and I'll see if she's interested, okay?
All right, sure, thanks. All right, take care, dude.
Have fun, be careful.
Seemed like he was actually considering if he'd vote for Trump to deport Hassan. Yahya Sinwar put death before dishonor and fought the Zionist entity until his last breath. Oh my god, this guy's a piece of shit.
Welcome back, everybody. Jackson Hinkle here, Legitimate Targets, episode 10. I am so excited. I'm not sure. We got a lot to talk about. And they tried to fire a tank at him, the Israelis. They didn't know it was him because his face was covered by a bunch of keffiyehs, but they fired a tank at him. They killed all the other people in the room. They fired a shoulder-guided missile. They blew off his arm, and he was still fighting, trying to fend off unmanned drone. They tried to come into the building. He threw grenades down the staircase and scared them off, and then I guess they fired either a sniper or another tank shell at him, finally killing him. So my question is, this was a very dramatic, ending to the life of Yahya Sinwar. It seems to have inspired a lot of people, but
defending himself against heavy odds.
Yeah, Jackson Hinkle is actually worse than Hassan. Like, the thing with Hassan, though, is he gaslights people into supporting these insane positions. And if you logically follow everything Hassan says, he does make it, explicitly implicit or implicitly explicit that he supports Sinwar and shit. So in that sense, Hassan's worse. Jackson Hinkle, he's more overt when it comes to his anti-Semitism and promotion of terrorism. The devious thing about Hassan, though, is he, gaslights people into supporting these positions that they wouldn't otherwise hold. But yeah, hopefully that guy can get deported somewhere.
For a year since Hamas's attack on October 7th of last year, and it was part of an overall ring of fire strategy, as the Iranians call it, against Israel. And right now, it's not going well for Iran. I think Israel is systematically dismembering Hamas and Hezbollah, have a lot of work to do on that. The next big event, however, is whatever decision the Israeli cabinet makes about how to retaliate against Iran for the October 1 missile attack. And just to put that missile attack in context, 180, 200 ballistic missiles fired from Iran against Israel is the largest ballistic missile attack in world history. So I think it's pretty clear Israel's response will be quite strong, but nobody at this point really has an inkling exactly what it will be. It will take place, I think, within a relatively short period of time, and then we'll see where we go from there.
I think.
No, never played Microsoft Flight Simulator. I was thinking of getting it. What was it? Moza actually just released a flight stick that has force feedback. I was thinking of getting that and then getting Microsoft Flight Simulator and seeing if there's any other good flight sims on the market. I already have DCS. Not the biggest fan of DCS. I'm also more into helicopters than I am planes, and there's not really many good helicopter sims.
I think, as you point out, it was a historic event that you had this exchange with Iran trying to strike Israel, and Israel had the systems in place to protect itself, but it did not lessen the degree or severity of that attack. What do you think the Israeli cabinet, the war cabinet, is taking into consideration as they decide what targets to strike in Iran, whether or not to go after the nuclear facilities and oil fields or something more like conventional military facilities?
Israel's main concern, I think, in the near term is defensive. Have they destroyed enough of Hezbollah's arsenal so that retaliation against Israel from Hezbollah in conjunction with more ballistic missile attacks from Iran itself don't overwhelm Israel's aerial defense systems, which have done well. But the way you beat any air defense system is put more projectiles in the air against it than they have the ability to respond to. But assuming that Israel can work its way through that, I think the question that they want to answer is, what's the principal threat that Israel faces from Iran, and are we going to take what may be our only opportunity to go after it, which would, I think, my view would be that leads them to attack the nuclear weapons program, which, if you ask the United States, what's Iran's biggest threat to the U.S., it's Iran's nuclear weapons program. But there are plenty of other options, including attacks against military facilities, the oil infrastructure, and against Iran's senior leadership.
How close is Iran to developing nuclear weapons?
Well, I think they're very close. I think the 2015 nuclear deal was a big mistake. I think it gave a false sense of security. There's much about Iran's program we simply don't know what the activity is, including whether it might be taking place under a mountain in North Korea, with which Iran has spent a lot of time working on both ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons. So, if you're Israel and you've seen in both the April attack from Iran and the October 1 attack, hundreds of ballistic missiles launched at you.
If Trump were to win, what would you see the best case scenario for him? Best case scenario is he lied about all of his campaign promises, just like he did back in 2016. Doesn't do anything and just sits on his ass the whole time. That would be the best case scenario in my mind.
You can have no confidence that the next time you see a ballistic missile coming from Iran, that under its nose cone, it might not have a nuclear weapon. So how long are you willing to take that chance?
Is Iran trying to bring things back to the previous regional balance? They talked a big game, and obviously that ballistic missile attack was significant. But I've been talking to some strategists who say, Iran was not as powerful as people thought. They have no desire for a regional war against Israel. But if Israel hits their nuclear facilities, will that regional war be inevitable?
Well, to put it this way, I think Iran is scared to death of Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government. I don't think they're scared of the Biden administration, unfortunately. And yeah, sure, you can say Iran doesn't want a regional war, but it launched one against Israel last October the 7th. And as I mentioned, it's not going very well. So now they're really worried. I think that's the point where Israel can have the maximum impact precisely by going after the nuclear weapons program. There's no guarantee, though.
Do I wear pink pajamas to make my enemies underestimate me? Yes, that is why I'm wearing this. It's very cozy. I am quite cozy right now. I much prefer being warm and cozy than cold. Energy Source donated $2. I was at New York City Planet Fitness, and Buff Guy wore a shirt that said, "Fuck you, missed me," with Trump's face. White liberal Americans are insincere or hypocritical in their efforts to support racial equality, even overcharged black, brown people. What the fuck is wrong with people? What do you mean they overcharge black and brown people? Oh, you mean the police? Well, the police are mostly conservative, so I don't know what you mean there. And it's really only left-wing liberals and Democrats that want to have police reform. Thanks for the donation, though, Energy Source.
I'll have another opportunity is good.
There's been this tension that's been very clear between the Biden White House and Bibi Netanyahu over whether or not to strike the facilities. Some say that the Americans now look weak, that they don't have the influence that the Israelis they used to. What is that dynamic between Netanyahu and Biden? And does Netanyahu need Biden's sign off to strike nuclear facilities? Or is he able to do it no matter what? And Biden basically has his hands tied because while he provides weapons to Israel, the reality is that this is a government that's made decisions they're going to go further than previous Israeli governments.
Well, they're going to go further because they've been under attack by ballistic missiles. I mean, it really, I suppose you have to be there to see the full impact. I think it's clear as of now that Israel has not told the United States if it's made a decision, what it will do, or even the options it's considering. And I have high confidence that's true because there are no leaks of that in the American press, which come out of the Biden White House with great regularity. So this shows a determination.
Don't regularly eat macadamia nuts. They do taste good, but I don't normally eat them.
By Israel, they're going to make up their own mind on it, and they worry about what Biden did to them the last time in April. He said, "Take the win." Very few casualties. Take the win and don't respond heavily. And Israel complied with that pressure, and the response from Iran was 180 ballistic missiles on October the 1st.
You, of course, worked for the Trump administration, and this is all happening against the backdrop of a U.S. election that is less than a month away. We've seen Donald Trump and Kamala Harris fighting it out in the polls. What is your thought on how the election's unfolding so well and Trump's chances of winning, as well as your concerns if he wins again?
Well, I think the election right now is on a knife's edge. It could go either way, and events in the outside world could be a factor. People talk about the October surprise. What happens in the Middle East will be a surprise. You don't know which way it will cut. I think it probably hurts Harris because it could drive up global oil prices, and that in turn could have an effect on gas prices at the pump in the U.S. and higher costs for other goods. I think that's one reason why Biden, if nothing else, would simply like to postpone any Israeli action till after November the 5th. I don't think it's going to happen. But it's because I think Israel's got a pressing need right now, and that's what they'll consider. But I don't think anybody who tells you that they can predict with confidence who will win in November, there's just no basis for that at this point.
What effect do you think that Elon Musk's support for Donald Trump will have, if any?
I think that's very hard to tell. I think this is celebrity season. Taylor Swift backs Kamala Harris. Elon Musk backs Donald Trump. Maybe it's a wash. I don't know. I think the electorate's very, very divided on partisan lines. I think it's more a question of boosting turnout on each side. And that really is what we call the ground game, the get out the vote drive in early balloting and on election day. And I think the candidate that does that the best could well be the one that wins.
What has surprised you the most about the election to date, the election race?
Well, I think everybody.
Energy Source $20. I mean, overcharging black-brown people for personal services or business, and they may provide inferior quality to them. I've never heard of that. Could understand service workers not being as nice to black and brown people if they're racist, but I've never heard of being overcharged. Liberal white people are fake and don't care one bit about racial injustice, and they're stupid and fake and a disgrace. Your thoughts kind of depends on what individuals you're talking about. So thanks for the donation, though, Energy Source.
Everybody was surprised that Biden did so poorly in the debate with Trump that he was forced to drop out. It leads to the question why those around him didn't see his condition much earlier, convince him to leave graciously a year before that, and give the Democrats a chance to have a primary so they could choose, what they considered to be their best candidate. I think right now we've got two.
Kamala Harris was obviously the best candidate choice.
Very inadequate candidates. I'm not going to vote for either one of them. I think.
Oh my God. Okay, this guy's a retard.
Behind many of the world's conflict flashpoints, there's one country that keeps being mentioned: Iran.
Iran used to be a powerful state, an empire, but it has lost that power.
Iran tries to influence politics in the region.
Is Iran a mastermind that is basically running this very complex game of chess?
What does Iran want? And how does its history impact the country's current relations with the wider world? Here are 5 reasons why Iran's involved in so many different conflicts. First of all, to understand Iran in the 21st century, we have to go back in time. Situated at the crossroads of Asia, Iran is home to one of the oldest continuous civilizations in the world. The Persian Empire had 50 million people living in it at its peak, and this may have been as much as half the world's population at the time.
There is this notion within Iranian ruling elites, but also among a lot of ordinary people, that Iran has this glorious past. It deserves a significant role in regional and global affairs.
A series of successive empires ruled the Iranian plateau for hundreds of years. Then Muslim Arab armies conquered the region, bringing in Islam in the 7th century. At the start of the 20th century, the country...
Bangoof, Stony Tillers, if he is not a person, explain this. Oh my god. He looks like a person. He's eating cucumber just like a person. That is a person. Oh. That's amazing. That's a person. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's a person. He's having a nap. He's sleeping and he's dreaming. That is a person. How could that not be a person? Oh my god. He's having a snack and he has another snack on his head. Just like a person. That is a person. You can't convince me otherwise. That is clearly a person. That's a good little...
Hey, would you
dog.
consider doing another what I eat video, but not just like 2 random things like a bowl of goop and shit, like show us some real shit, nigga. BTW, I love niggers.
Well, that would be kind of difficult right now because I'm dieting and I'm barely eating anything. I have blueberries and 2 protein shakes a day, and that's all I eat. So, there is a small possibility that I might be able to do a mukbang tomorrow. Like a mukbang stream. I was planning on probably just taking the day off, though, and watching movies with Jasmine and just eating some vegan Chinese food. But if that falls through for whatever reason, like Jasmine's just too tired, wants to sleep or something, then I'll just do a mukbang stream or some shit. Thanks for the donation, though, Charles.
TikTok from Jewish Princess Deborah Lee. She has some pretty nice DSL, if you know what I mean.
I could have treated you better. That's crazy. No.
I do not find her the least bit attractive. Thanks for the donation, though, nigga.
She made a splash on the world stage when the British discovered oil in Iran. While Iran was never colonized by the British, the creation...
Tell Jasmine your stream is your family now. I don't know how to break it to her.
...of the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, which became BP, meant they had a lot of influence in the country. In 1953, a coup engineered by the US with British help ousted the democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, who had nationalized oil, leading to trade embargoes which disrupted the economy. The pro-Western Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi then enjoyed 26 years of relatively peaceful rule.
There seems to be no place for the past in Tehran, the present capital.
Until 1979.
I I have a better idea. Instead of just depicting Hamas supporters like Hassan, let's just sentence them straight to death by making support for Hamas or any other terrorist organization for that matter a capital offenses.
You know, I'm not exactly opposed to that idea, so you might be onto something, Dodo. Thanks for the donation, dude. I'm still feeling a little cold, especially in my lower body region. I also feel like I have to piss, but I don't want to have to get up.
This is the man they call the father of the revolution. And this is the moment that millions in Iran have been waiting for.
Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini became the country's supreme leader, ruling a new Iran with religion at its core.
It's extraordinary how one man can command such adoration.
When Khomeini returned, he wasted little time in making his political ambitions known. Which brings us to our next reason.
The crowd shouted, "Death to the Americans, death to the Shah, death to Carter."
With the Iranian Revolution, Iran radically broke from its alliance with the Western powers.
ما پیروزیمون وقتی است که دست این اجانب از مملکتمون کوتاه شود.
Tensions between Iran and the US deepened when a group of students supporting the new regime stormed the American embassy in the capital, Tehran, sparking a 444-day standoff which led to international...
Just piss yourself, 2 birds with 1 stone. Do it.
Yeah, but if I did that, the piss is gonna cool down, and then I'll be even colder. So if the piss would stay warm, I'd consider it. Thanks for the donation, though. Forgot my namification.
National sanctions.
Sid donated $2. Do you see Dodo as a friend? Yes, my very strange, possibly autistic friend. Thanks for the donation, Sid.
So since then, Iran has tried to protect itself from what it perceives to be constant attempt by the United States to overthrow the Islamic Republic.
Energy source, donate $2, skip to 35. Want to overcome insecure thoughts about me, thinking people hate me because of my race. It's always a feeling they are two-faced and liberals just do it for attention seeking. Stop dodging.
How loud is too loud? New research shows that just one...
I don't know what I'm dodging exactly. Stop caring what other people fucking think of you, dude. You can't control other people's thoughts. So, you know, don't put yourself in a situation where you give anybody power over you, where they can fuck you over, but... You know, if they're going to be racist, they're going to be racist. You can't really change anybody's mind on that. Just stop caring.
And it's altered permanently.
Dr. Eric Smuha says this is the kind of damage that isn't picked up during a traditional hearing test. He points to a study where mice were exposed to loud noise for 2 hours.
They looked not at the hearing level, but they looked at the nerve endings. And what they found is that the nerve endings separated themselves from the receptor cells in the inner ear. So they weren't functioning well.
So though you can still hear okay days after a noisy event, Dr. Smuha says it becomes an issue of comprehension.
But the processing of the sound that you hear is mangled, it's garbled. They will have more trouble making sense of what you're saying.
But there are several things you can do to help prevent this from happening. One easy way, earplugs.
Stand away from the speakers, give yourself distance. And the third thing is avoid repeated exposures. I always tell people who use an iPad or a personal device to use 2/3 the maximum volume.
And if you're going to a concert, sure, those upper level seats may make your nose bleed.
Well, that's good advice. That's interesting, too. I didn't know it damaged the nerve cells in the ear. Thanks for the donation, energy source.
Good evening, VG. I really and truthfully hope that you are feeling GR8 tonight. So, what are your thoughts on this tweet from Dr. Ravi?
This is an Instagram post, not a tweet. 40% of American Jews appear to plan on voting Republican, according to the PRRI survey. If accurate, it would be the highest percentage of Jews voting Republican in the last 100 years. Well, it's obvious why. It's because the Democrats aren't giving adequate support to Israel. But, you know, Trump will, so... Yep. Democrats are kind of fucking spineless cowards. Thanks for the donation, Ben. Just Cade, donate $2. Hi, remember me. How you been? Did you miss me? I do remember you, and yeah, sure, I missed you. I've been doing pretty well, I guess. Thanks for the donation, Just Kid.
Me when I hear vegan gains call some of the finest women unattractive but says some femboys are cute.
Love you, man. Nigga, you gay.
Some femboys are pretty cute. Like, let's be serious. Thanks for the donation, though, nigga.
Over the decades, there have been flares of violence between the two countries.
The United States has admitted it shot down an Iranian airliner over the Gulf early this morning.
We had him, got it. That was a dead on.
The Iranians say...
You look comfy. Like the pajamas. Are you tired?
I am remarkably tired. I had to stay up late last night changing a motorcycle tire, and for whatever fucking reason, even though it's the same brand I always use, it was extraordinarily stiff. And I spent way too long trying to get it over the fucking rim. And then I had to get up to take Faye to the vet for a basic checkup. And then had to go to Walmart, get some new pillows and cushions and shit. And then I started streaming, and I just haven't had quite enough sleep. And I'm also just constantly tired from fucking dieting. I'm down to 218 pounds, though. So, I actually lost more weight this week than I had expected. By about 4 pounds, so that's pretty cool. But, yeah, I'm tired. I am fairly cozy, though. Thanks for the donation, James.
Say 290 people were on board, 66 of them children.
In 2020, after a period of increased conflict, an influential Iranian general, Qasem Soleimani, was assassinated by the US.
American officials say the airstrike that killed Qasem Soleimani was carried out in self-defense.
Qasem Soleimani has been killed, and his bloody rampage is now forever gone.
Get fucked.
In the 4 months following the outbreak of the Israel-Gaza war in 2023, the US recorded 170 attacks from Iran-backed militias on their bases in the Middle East, a 20-fold increase on the 4 months before. After 3 American soldiers were killed, the US threatened to retaliate.
Make no mistake. We will defend our people. We will defend our security swiftly and decisively.
This marked a significant drop-off in attacks on US bases.
Iran tries to show itself to be the most anti-US government of the region.
It is also looking to gain international allies.
They have therefore always sided with the other side's enemy. They see Russia.
Haven't started watching The Sopranos yet. I'll probably do that soon, though.
As an ally, because they have no one else.
The US has accused Iran of providing weapons to Russia for its war against Ukraine. This is perceived as an attempt by Tehran to strengthen its ties with Moscow and increase its own global influence.
So Iran wants to actually not only push the United States out of the region, they also want to actually fill in that vacuum.
But there are two major powers in the Middle East competing for dominance. First up, Israel.
The biggest threat perception of Iran is related to the United States, and then right after that is Israel.
Do not test Israel's resolve.
It has, over the years, created this network of partners and proxies to deter an attack on Iranian soil. This is a network that is known as the Axis of Resistance.
The reach of Iranian influence across the Middle East comes in the form of an alliance of militia groups known as proxies, including Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, as well as several other well-armed groups in Iraq, Syria, and Bahrain. Most have been designated terrorist organizations by some Western states.
There is always a degree of plausible deniability that Iran can maintain.
گروه‌های مقاومت در منطقه در تصمیمات و اقدامات خود از جمهوری اسلامی ایران دستور نمیگیرند.
The network is more coordinated than ever and is more capable than ever. But having said all of this, post-October 7th, it was very clear that Iran was taken by surprise.
On the 7th of October 2023, Hamas militants attacked and killed 1,200 people in Israel, a catalyst which ignited the most deadly war in the history of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Iran denied any involvement in the attack, but did publicly support the actions of Hamas.
Since then, what Iran has tried to do has been to demonstrate moral support for Hamas, which is now under tremendous pressure, without doing too much that would actually drag Iran or Hezbollah or other members of the Axis into a direct confrontation with the US and Israel.
Not every member in the Axis of Resistance has the same kind of relationship with Iran.
Hezbollah is the most capable. It is the crown jewel of Iran's Axis of Resistance.
Hezbollah, a group which emerged in the 1980s, is...
Dude, Israel fucking annihilated Hezbollah in 10 fucking days. Like, that is hilarious. I really hope Israel goes after Iran and just fucks their shit up.
Is based in southern Lebanon and provides a military threat on Israel's northern border.
One assumption in Tehran is that Israel wants to first destroy Hamas and then go after Hezbollah. I think Iran would draw a line, making sure that that conflict is so deadly.
Deep Patel donated $2. What are your overall thoughts on the recent surge in classified UFO files? They're all bullshit. It's literally ducks. I know a lot of videos, photos seem suspicious, but the amount of whistleblowers with their statements is pretty interesting. Not really. It's just like a mass hysteria phenomena, right? It's like when one guy says he sees Bigfoot or saw Bigfoot, there's going to be like 20 other people who will come out and claim they saw Bigfoot. All the videos that have been shown, they're literally all ducks or something. Like they're birds, or they're literally just tracking like a reflection. Stupid shit like that. I really don't care about watching any of this shit. It's all complete and utter horse crap, and it's an hour and 52 minutes. Thanks for the donation.
Here is what you learn when you buy John Zerka's Date IQ course. Also, what did you think of Scarface when you saw it?
You know how you pick up chicks in this country? women in this country, when you do that, they know.
They know what?
They understand. They go crazy. It's gonna take a lot of practice, but you gotta learn. Because women love when you flop the pussy. Look at that. Coño.
I gotta watch my friend here. He's gonna stick his tongue out to that girl. Oh, look at that. Hey, yo!
I thought it was pretty overrated. It was not very interesting at all. Thanks for the donation, though, Pooh.
Devastating that the next stage would not be a direct attack on Iran.
Saudi Arabia also poses a problem for Iran. It is the largest Sunni power in the Middle East, while Iran is the biggest Shia power. The different branches of Islam go back to the conflicting beliefs each has about whether the Prophet Muhammad declared a successor. While the countries have never been in a direct war, Iran and Saudi Arabia have been engaged in a proxy conflict for decades.
Iran, as the largest Shia state in the region, considers itself as the natural leader for Muslims in the Middle East, but especially the Shia community across the region.
Well, wait, isn't the Iranian government Shia, but most Iranian citizens are Sunni? Or is it, yeah, isn't that the case?
And so Iran is trying to undermine Saudi position through, for example, helping Houthis.
Since the civil war in Yemen began in 2015, the Houthis, a group seeking to overthrow the government, have been fighting with Saudi Arabia. As regional tensions intensified in 2023, the Houthis have also been taking aim at the Red Sea, a geopolitically important shipping route for world trade.
The Houthis have now gained control of almost half of the country. And a bit like Hezbollah, they do listen to what Iran is saying.
While the Houthis are pulling the trigger, so to speak, they're being handed the gun by Iran.
But they don't necessarily obey every order that comes from the Islamic Republic.
Iran denies supplying weapons to the Houthis and says it only supports them politically.
How are you?
Iran also
okay.
showed its political allegiance in the Syrian civil.
Echoes the fall, donate $2. I'm an ex-Muslim and my sister is religiously Muslim, and I tell her why you keep defending Prophet Muhammad. Said that stuff is normalized back then in Europe too, and homosexuality is mental illness and people do it. She said pedophilia isn't a mental illness. Right, pedophilia isn't a mental illness, but homosexuality is. Your sister's a dumb bitch. If your sister's hot, I'd still probably fuck her, especially if she had a big nose. Thanks for the donation, though, Echoes.
War.
This war pitches the government against an armed rebellion.
Iran's position was against anyone that Saudi Arabia supported, and therefore was in support of Assad.
It provided support to Bashar al-Assad's ruling government against the Arab and Western-backed rebels.
It wasn't ideological, as some people put it. It was more pragmatic.
This also explains why Iran...
Deplatform terrorism, donate $2. Ethan Klein is trying to get Hassan banned from Twitch because of his terrorist support.
Hello, everybody. It's Ethan Klein from my basement. Beautiful Friday evening. My kids just went to sleep, and I opened Reddit to browse my community, who I love so well. And at the top of the subreddit is this very lovely clip entitled, Just a Casual Panel Provided by Twitch at their con, broadcasted on their official channel. What is it? Well, it's a panel hosted by Frogan and 4 of her friends,
Jesus.
in which they have a tier list where they rate people where good is Arab and bottom is loves Sabra. Sabra is a very popular hummus brand. I know in Israel, it's pretty much in everybody's refrigerator, and it's kosher. They're an American company, but they've been the subject of the pro-Palestine boycott. I mean, it's kind of just Arab good, Jew bad. I mean, I'm having a hard time seeing this any other way. And what's crazy is that I've been suspecting that Twitch.
Yeah, that is a clear, obvious dog whistle. This is on Twitch's official, like, event. This is insane.
Beast Ethan Beast.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Ethan becoming more based. Thanks for the donation, Dodo. Yeah, that's a very obvious dog whistle. They're trying to say, kill Jews, Arabs are superior, they're Arab supremacists.
Has an anti-Semitism problem. Obviously, it started with Hassan platforming Houthi terrorists and showing unfettered terrorist propaganda on his channel. But now, they've unbanned Sneeko.
Down with the Yahoo! Vegan Gains Ideal Woman.
Stay out of this, Glinda, or I'll fix you as well.
Oh, rubbish. You have no power here. Be gone before somebody drops a house on you, too.
Very well. I'll bide my time. And as for...
I don't know, her nose isn't quite big enough.
I'll get you, my...
It's pretty fucking hot, though. Thanks for the donation, nigga. Deep Patel donated $2. That's actually what you may call a rehab center in Europe for pedophiles who know and understand they have the urges but haven't acted on it. They classify these people as nonviolent pedophiles. Yeah, I've already seen this documentary. Thanks for the donation, Deep Patel.
Down with the Yahoo! And they've just unbanned Fresh and Fit this week. These are two of the most prolific Jew-hating creators on the entire internet. And these are the...
Okay, yeah, it's pretty clear Twitch is run by anti-Semites. Like, that is just obvious. They may have even had a political bias in unbanning Sneeko because Sneeko was promoting anti-Semitism like Holocaust denialism. Like, why would they unban Sneeko? There's no reason to, but he has come out as an anti-Semite, denying the Holocaust and calling for the death of Israel and Jews. And then they unban him after that? That sounds like Twitch actually are run by anti-Semites.
The two they've targeted to bring back. Now, taking this all in account, here's an officially sanctioned event at TwitchCon. Let's take a look at it and see what exactly is Twitch endorsing here.
Okay. It's the perfect transition to our first person, Hassan.
Yeah. Gee, I wonder where they're going to put Hassan. I'm going to guess they're going to put him in Arab.
Hassan is Turkish, but he's a brother.
Yeah.
You know? So...
yeah, I think he'd be on Arab coded.
I mean, I would put him in Arab, to be honest.
I would put him also in Arab.
Which is great. That's the good one. That's the one you want.
Austin. Let's go down the line.
He's Arab.
Arab.
He's Arab.
Arab.
He's
actual
Arab.
Lebanese. Like,
Yeah.
Good job. Good job, Austin.
The next person is one of my favorite people, Ethan Klein.
I told you guys to clap.
Love Sabra. He's a
That was
Jew.
a good one. That's...
So the Love Sabra thing is a dog whistle for Jew.
Oh, Jewish.
Dude, where's the? You guys are missing a category for Zionist. That was a joke. That was just a joke in my.
Stand up, stand up, stand up.
We're very.
VG, just why do these people who claim to be for SoCal justs hate Jews so much?
Well, they're all fascists. I think they realize the only way they can spread fascism is through crypto-fascism, where you just fake humanitarian interests. But fundamentally, they're fascists. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Yo, donate $2. That latest vid you did with Wayne, man, he doesn't get it. The comment section is brain rot. Try to defend the Israeli position, but the people, including Wayne himself, are totally convinced Israel is the genocidal evil regime. I can't deal. Well, yeah, they're all retards, dude. They're all genuine fucking moron imbeciles. I gotta message Wayne and ask him if he actually reached out to Seb Alex. I'm guessing he didn't hear a peep from him. Let me... Where is Wayne? There he is. Did you message Seb Alex? I'm guessing that jihadist anti-Semite either ignored you or refused to debate me. Yo donated $2. Oh wait, sorry. Thanks for the donation, yo. One step behind donated $2. When I was a teenager, I would use Tinder to catfish hot girls. Most didn't care, and we kiss and make out, but they ghost after meeting me. I had sex with 2, insecure about my looks, want to meet girls in real life and approach them, but I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just go up to them and say ooga booga. Women are people too. So just like you'd go up and talk to anybody else, just go up and talk to girls. It's not that hard. Don't get too far into your own head. Stop putting women on a pedestal and caring what they think about you and using them as a form of validation. Like, if girls don't like me, I'm not a good person. Most of the women you meet are fucking losers. Most of them have shitty jobs working as fucking cashiers. Most of them don't have any real long-term life goals aside from marrying some rich dude. Most women are fucking losers. So why the fuck do you care what they think about you? Just go up and fucking talk to them. It's all you gotta do. Just like you do with anybody else. But thanks for the donation, one step behind.
And to think these people were at one point seen as the good guys who were going to be the future for this country. Thank God that's not what ended up happening.
Yes. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Proud of you, Denims, for bringing anti-Semitism right on stage, and you guys are killing it. And may I point out here, Chevron, Capcom, and Samsung. Do you know that there is an Arab to Jew tier list happening in front of your sponsor? And you guys were so kind to sitting right in front of them. Chevron, Samsung, and Capcom. By the way, a bit of irony. I love that they're boycotting hummus and sitting in front of a Chevron logo. Like, yeah, I wonder which one's doing more damage. Okay.
Yeah.
We know Twitch is like plays favorites with everything. If they were really serious about anti-Semitism, Sneeko and Fresh and Fit would never have been brought back to the platform. It's just a no-brainer, right? But they were welcomed back with open arms. And I mean, their whole platform essentially for the past year has just been anti-Semitism. I'm not even kidding. That's literally all they talk about. I don't know what to say. You know, I've kind of been put in this position where like, I watch this clip and I'm like, what the fuck am I actually watching? This is mad. I need to say something. Chevron, Samsung, and Capcom, they deserve to know. You know, I know Capcom put in a Shmuley the Rabbi in the next Street Fighter game, who attacks with the dreidels and throws foreskin. So they are very in touch with the Jewish identity. So we're going to have to ask them. That's it. Enjoy the weekend. I know there's going to be lots of obfuscating and excuses for this video. And, you know, let's be real, guys. Let's just look at this optically. Imagine this is flipped. Super Jew and colonizer on the bottom, right? And I go, Frogan, we know where she goes. She goes to the bottom. Like, let's be fucking real, okay? No one else would get that treatment. So don't even try to pretend or act like this is some innocent little mistake and that one of the guys there is Jewish. I just don't care. I'm glad you have a Jewish friend. That's very nice. But at the end of the day, let's get real, okay? Get your shit together.
Yeah, that was a base take.
Support Hamas, who are Sunni, showing how Iran's strategic goals often go beyond religion.
Whenever Iran is facing an external enemy, real or perceived, Iran is not shying away from supporting groups which are not necessarily religiously close to it.
Ultimately, Iran tries to keep the fight away from its own borders, our fifth and final reason. Iran has not fought a war on its own soil since the Iran-Iraq war ended in a ceasefire in 1988.
The tank is Iraqi. The town was Iranian.
The war had a traumatic impact on Iran because Iran is at least 3 times the size of Iraq, and yet Iran wasn't able to defeat Iraq.
Many civilians died in the attack, and the signs of panic to escape are everywhere to be seen.
It took a long time for Iran to recover from the war. Ever since, its military strategy has been aimed at avoiding another direct conflict. This has led Iran to focus on developing its missile program.
Male enhancement claims like MPMD/Leo and longevity described like 2 inches permanent gains real or plausible?
No. You might be able to find case reports of that happening. I've actually never seen a single scientific case report where somebody added 2 inches to their penis length, either flaccid or erect, from using a penis pump or elongator. If you look at any actual trials on penis pumps or elongators, they normally either add no size at all, that's both in terms of girth or length, or you're talking about extremely small increases, like 3 millimeters or something. So, these people online who claim I added 2 inches to my penis, they're either lying, they may be measuring incorrectly, and they're overly optimistic, like they have a bias into thinking that, all this hard work I put in sitting in a bathtub for 3 hours with an elongator every single day has to pay off. So they're probably measuring it differently and being a little generous and like rounding up. I have not even seen a single scientific case report of anybody lengthening their penis by 2 inches with any male enhancement device. The most reliable way to increase the length of your penis is by reducing your body fat. That's really it. So, I wouldn't bother. Thanks for the donation, though, Beans.
Acting as a deterrent against any potential attack on Iran, and it's able to project power well beyond its borders without actually engaging in a direct conflict with any particular state.
But it seems that Iran's strategy of avoiding direct engagement is evolving. In January 2024, Iran struck what it claimed to be enemy targets in Iraq, Syria, and Pakistan. and Pakistan, not wanting to be undermined, retaliated.
What is seen in Tehran as defensive is seen by the rest of the region as offensive. My fear is that as a result of the war in Gaza, the credibility of Iran's regional deterrence has diminished. It might now try to compensate that shortcoming with nuclear deterrence, basically the ultimate deterrent.
We will not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon.
Diplomatic efforts have been made by the West to prevent Iran from ever developing a nuclear weapon. But President Trump withdrew from a landmark deal that aimed to secure this in 2018.
The fact is, this was a horrible, one-sided deal that should have never, ever been made.
However,
you know, given how shady Trump is, I wonder if he actually got paid by Iran to do that.
At the end of 2023, US intelligence said it believed Iran could be weeks away from creating one.
What does Iran want in the region?
Iran's Islamic Republic hasn't really achieved many of the claims that it had.
It also wants to be seen at least as the leading state within Muslim world itself.
As I sat in our bomb shelter, waiting for the hundreds of Iranian drones and missiles headed for Israel, I had one simple question. Why does Iran hate Israel? If I was making a likely list of Israel's enemies, Iran wouldn't be at the top. Just look at this map. Israel's wars were primarily fought against its direct neighbors. Iran is on the other side of the Arabian Peninsula. Also, the Palestinians are Arab. All of Israel's neighbors who fought wars against Israel, Arab. But Iran? They're Persians, not Arabs. Most of Israel's Muslim neighbors are Sunni. Palestinian Muslims are Sunni. But Iran? Shia. And the Sunni and Shia, they haven't exactly gotten along for, well, almost 1,500 years. And on top of all of that, for over 30 years, Iran and Israel were allies. Which might feel like ancient history, but at the end of the episode, we'll get a glimpse of how that history could make a comeback. So why?
Even after this clip of Trump's racist moments, people like Kidba will still vote for him. Those truly are black people that want slavery to come back and would be first in line to be a slave.
A brief rundown of Donald Trump's lifelong history of racism. When Donald Trump was a landlord in the 70s, he was sued for refusing to rent to black tenants in New York City. This former Trump aide says she heard Donald Trump using the N-word during his reality TV years. Donald Trump is also the one that promoted the false birther lie for years, claiming that the first black president, Barack Obama, was not born in the United States. And most recently, Donald Trump said the American people would rather choose a white president over a black president. Take a look.
Would you rather have the black president or the white president who got $1.7 billion off the price? I think they want the white guy.
I've never even heard of that one. That's fucking crazy. He literally used like his race as a reason to vote for him?
Right. And it's not just his words, it's his policies too. When he was president, black unemployment and uninsured rates skyrocketed. And his Project 2025 would hurt our healthcare, education, and economic opportunities. By contrast, Vice President Harris has a plan for black Americans. She wants to make housing more affordable by giving first-time homebuyers up to $25,000 in down payment assistance. She's proposing giving 1 million fully forgivable loans to black entrepreneurs and others to start businesses. She also wants to cap the cost of insulin to $35 for all Americans, which would be especially beneficial for black men who are at an elevated risk for diabetes. The stakes are too high for us in this election.
Yeah. Trump's racist, all right. Thanks for the donation, Ben.
Why does Iran hate Israel so much? The simple answer is that Iran wants power. Power against the West, or the Saudis, or Taylor Swift fans. Okay, I haven't heard the Swifties one. But I hate that explanation. In working on this episode, I wanted to find answers that went beyond the simplistic. So my deep dive into Iran's hatred of Israel led me to 6 reasons why these former friends became enemies. And the first is Iran's hatred of the West. Let's back it up. Check out this footage of people partying back in the 70s. Normal, right? Except these are Iranians and Israelis partying in Iran. See, shortly after Israel's independence in 1948, things were pretty chill between Iran and Israel. Iran was actually the second Muslim-majority country to recognize Israel. They collaborated on trade, and Israel's national airline had daily, non-stop flights between Tel Aviv and Tehran.
Huh? What?
How'd that happen? Well, even though Iran was a Muslim-majority country, it was run by a secular dictator. And the Shah was a big fan of Western values, like education, women's rights, religious freedom, but not a big fan of other Western values, like democracy, freedom of the press, not jailing and torturing dissidents. And yet, his iron-fisted rule of Iran was propped up by Western countries, which made the West very unpopular with Iranians who didn't like the Shah. And in the 1970s, that population was growing. Then came the tipping point. In 1979, a popular uprising known as the Islamic Revolution swept through the country. The Shah was out, and an Islamic cleric known as the Ayatollah was in, establishing the Islamic Republic of Iran. Okay, so given that history, I can totally understand why Iran's a little bit wary of Western influence, with how the West supported the Shah despite his brutal policies. And I get why Israel might get lumped in with all of that. But I was still left with the question, why does Iran have this special focus on Israel? The Islamic Republic of Iran wasn't just annoyed with the West's interference in internal politics. An important part of Ayatollah Khomeini's movement was to oppose Western imperialism more generally and push for the establishment of Islamic states, ruled by Sharia law. And where's the front line of the battle against Western imperialism? Israel. Iran sees Israel as the first step taken by Western countries to take over the entire region and destroy Islam. It's just the smaller version of the bigger imperialist problem posed by the US and other countries. Khomeini even had cute nicknames for Iran's new enemies. He called the US the Great Satan and Israel the Little Satan. So if Israel is—
Yeah, Trump is so racist, that's why he has the most minority support amongst any Republican candidate since the civil rights era, way to cite multiple already debunked talking points of him denying from renters. Trump is gonna win, so suck it, bitch niggers.
He was denying black renters. None of that was debunked. And, who cares if he has more support compared to other Republicans? He still has very little support. Thanks for the donation, Kid Boo, you're a dumbass.
Is the first foothold of the West's imperialist expansion, there's a logic to Iran wanting to put the kibosh on the Jewish state before things got out of hand.
Now I'm gonna put the kibosh on you.
Though, with 1,000 miles between Israel and Iran, things would have to get pretty out of hand. And this narrative totally ignores the Jewish narrative, that Israel is not anyone's colony, but rather an indigenous people reclaiming their homeland. For Israelis and their supporters around the world, they see Israel as a successful example of decolonization, a Jewish return to their ancient, tiny slice of homeland after it was colonized by Rome 2,000 years ago, a Jewish return that was begrudgingly supported by the West in the wake of the Holocaust and after a Jewish rebellion against British imperialists. But for now, Iran would prefer to agree to disagree. But I want to go beyond this whole imperialism thing and look at how Iran's hatred of Israel plays a part in regional politics. Because it's not all just about the Satan brothers.
Born to be bad.
Let's zoom out and look at the overall power dynamics in the Middle East. Remember, Iran went through an Islamic revolution, and Islam has two main camps that don't get along. On one side are the Sunni, and on the other are the minority Shia. Not clear on the differences? That's okay. Lots of non-Christians don't understand the difference between Catholics and Protestants, and that didn't stop them from fighting three.
Trump must win. He is my emissary, my harbinger of pain and destruction and non-stop late-night TV jokes and stale impersonations. Trump will put an end to order, and from the chaos, rebirth rejoice.
Let me take a look.
And the thing I like about it the most is it means the system is beginning to collapse and everything is slowly breaking down. I enjoy chaos and disorder, not just because they help me professionally. They're also my hobby. You see, I'm an entropy fan. I'm an entropy fan. When I first heard of entropy in high school science, I was attracted to it immediately. When they told me that in nature, all systems are breaking down, I thought, what a good thing. What a good thing. Perhaps I can make some small contribution in this area myself. And of course, it's not just in nature. In this country, the whole social structure just beginning to collapse. You watch. Just beginning now to come apart at the edges and the seams. And the thing I like about that is that it means it makes the news on television more interesting, makes the television news more exciting, makes it more fun. I watch television news for one thing and one thing only: entertainment. That's all I want from the news: entertainment. You know my favorite thing on television? Bad news. Bad news and disasters and accidents and catastrophes. I want to see some explosions and fires. I want to see shit blowing up and bodies flying around. I'm not interested in the budget. I don't care about tax negotiations. I don't want to know what country the fucking Pope is in. But you show me a hospital that's on fire and people on crutches are jumping off the roof, and I'm a happy guy! I'm a happy guy! I'm a happy guy! I want to see a paint factory blowing up. I want to see an oil refinery explode. I want to see a tornado hit a church on Sunday. I want to see people, I want to know there's some guy running through the Kmart with an automatic weapon firing at the clerks. I want to see thousands of people in the street killing policemen. I want to hear about a nuclear meltdown. I want to know the stock market dropped 2,000 points in one day. I want to see people under pressure. Sirens, flames, smoke, bodies, graves being filled, parents weeping, exciting shit. My kind of TV. I just want some entertainment. It's just the kind of guy I am. It's the kind of guy I am. You know what I love the most? When big chunks of concrete and fiery wood are falling out of the sky and people are running around trying to get out of the way. Exciting shit. That's why I watch auto racing. That's the only reason I watch auto racing. I'm waiting for some accidents, man. I want to see some cars on fire. I don't care about a bunch of redneck jack-offs driving 500 miles in a circle. 500 miles in a circle? Children can do that, for Christ's sake. Doesn't impress me. I want to see some schmuck with his hair on fire running around punching his own head, trying to put it out.
It's not one of his best bits. Thanks for that donation, though, Chaos.
It has been debunked multiple times. It was people under Section 8 housing. He was denying rent too. And those people happened to be disproportionately black. He won that case easily. Trump is the nigger. And yes, I think most niggers should be enslaved.
The case was corrupt. He had some kind of personal connection with the prosecutor, and he basically just made it so he could just walk off scot-free. I know the whole story. He wasn't denying people based on Section 8 housing. That whole thing was just bullshit. Thanks for the donation, though, Kid Boo.
Gary the Numbers Guy exposes vegan gains the 7 life path. Your birthday June 26, 1991 makes you a 7 life path.
7 life path. Extremely intelligent, loner at heart, keeps to himself, not good in relationships. Stephen Hawking was the 7 life path. Again, 7, genius. Genius starts with G. G is the 7th letter. Go in your life and look at the smartest people when they were born, and you're going to see they're born in the 7th, 16th, 25th, or their 7 life paths. You can laugh all you want, but I give readings to teachers. I give readings to college professors, and they all the time say the smartest kids are born in the 7th, 16th, 25th. 7 life path. Extremely intelligent, loner.
Yeah, that is complete bullshit. Thanks for the donation, numerology expert. Dodo donated as well. At the end of the day, nothing matters. I myself would like to see Godzilla himself dry humping Lady Liberty. Yeah, I'd like to see that too. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
3 centuries of wars.
Nobody understands this.
But in short, after Muhammad's death, there was a power struggle between Muhammad's son and a group of political leaders called the Caliphs. The Sunnis went with the Caliphs, while the Shia went with Muhammad's son. And they haven't exactly gotten along since then. Today, the Shia make up only about 10% of all Muslims around the world. So Iran is Shia, a minority group within Islam that doesn't get much love. And after the Islamic Revolution, they had lost all their Western backing. In order for the new Iran to survive, the Ayatollah needed to make some friends, and fast. And rule number 1 in international politics is, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Cue everyone's favorite scapegoat.
Hello, everybody.
Khomeini saw the fight against Israel as a way to unite Shia and Sunni Muslims, giving Iran the next best thing to credibility with other governments.
Street cred.
Which ultimately helped give Iran a foothold in the region. Using Israel as a common enemy, Iran has successfully built a network of allies among states and militant groups across the Middle East. But while the Islamic Revolution wanted to unite the Muslim world, it ended up mostly doing the opposite, exacerbating divides between Shiites and Sunnis. See, the Sunni dictatorships out there aren't exactly on board with some Persian Shiites leading the Arab Muslim world. They're mostly into pan-Arabism, which not only puts Sunnis in the majority, but closes the door on the non-Arab Iranian Shia. But now that we've zoomed in, let's zoom back out all the way, because Iran has big plans. The Islamic Revolution isn't just for Iran, it's for the whole world. Here's a few choice quotes from the Ayatollah that I came across. "We shall export our revolution to the whole world. Until the cry 'there is no God but Allah' resounds over the whole world, there will be struggle. Establishing the Islamic State worldwide belongs to the great goals of the revolution."
Dream big.
But if every journey begins with a single step, Israel has kind of tied Iran's shoelaces together. From the Iranian perspective, Israel has played a major role in blocking its goal to globalize the revolution. And here I'm going to paraphrase something I heard from Israeli journalist Haviv Rettig Gur in a podcast from the Free Press. Link in description. Gur said that in the Iranian narrative, for over 2,000 years, the Jews were the weakest people on earth. After all, they're the little Satan. And as a first step to conquer the West, Islam must first conquer the West's weakest link, Israel.
Its problem with Israel is that Islam tried and failed to destroy Israel.
Now, I would think that Sunnis could also get behind Islam's domination of the world. And 20 plus years ago, apparently I would have been right. Because for decades, Sunni states quietly supported radical jihadists bent on world domination. But what I learned is that with the writing on the wall for economies that rely on oil, Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states have seriously cut down on the demonization of the West. And in many ways, those states are seeing their own cultural westernization, something Iran is definitely not on board with. So we've talked about Iran's beef with the West, the US, Israel, Europe, and all those jerks who know Latin phrases, pretend to like opera, and wear suits and ties. And yes, Iranians don't wear ties because ties are Western. That's because Iran isn't just pissed about Western power, it's pissed about Western culture, which in many ways we Jews should be able to identify with, because some of our most formative centuries were spent fighting Western culture. First Greek culture, and then Roman culture. But unlike most cultures that lost their battle with the West, we survived by adapting. Go AE Pi. But Iran's not on board with that, because to them, Western culture and Islam are oil and water. One central example of this has been Western-style promiscuity, aka women's rights. Several waves of protests have hit Iran in recent years, as Iranian women protest against laws forcing them to wear hijab. The regime has cracked down violently on these protests, accusing the West of trying to spread promiscuity in Iran. Women in Iran are also banned from singing or dancing in public, and their freedom can be restricted in many ways by their husbands. Israel, with its Western values like freedom and democracy and rights for women, is a giant Western thorn in Iran's side, which is just one more reason why Iran hates Israel. And while I've known about the culture wars for a long time, the next issue is one I only learned about in preparing for this episode: justice. What I learned is that Shiite Muslims believe strongly in a concept called adl, or justice. So much so that it's counted among the pillars of faith for them. Now, in the past, Shiites were resigned to the idea that justice could never be achieved on earth until the return of the Mahdi, a sort of messianic figure. From what I understand, this wait for justice approach developed in the wake of Shia defeats in the early Sunni-Shia conflict. Kind of similar to how militarism was largely beaten out of Jewish identity by the Romans after the last great Jewish revolt. But the Ayatollah decided to push for justice now, even before the coming of the Mahdi. For the Islamic Revolution, justice means actively supporting the oppressed against the oppressor. And the oppressor here goes way beyond just the Shah, who they overthrew. Even before the Islamic Revolution, Khomeini supported and trained Shia terrorist groups, and even the Sunni Palestinians. Iran's message of justice found a receptive audience among Muslims around the world, living under sometimes brutal dictatorships. This commitment to justice found universal appeal among both Sunnis and Shia, bringing together disparate groups in the bigger vision of Islam's reign spreading around the world. And while I think a lot of us could get behind this idea of justice, Iran's brand of justice isn't exactly what most of us have in mind. I mean, capital punishment for homosexuals, subjugation of women, or how about the fact that Iran supports these guys, the Houthis, who literally brought back slavery to Yemen? Okay, so regardless of its source, Iran's hatred for Israel is deep and dangerous. But it's really important to point out the difference between the Iranian government and the Iranian people. Many everyday Iranians have been speaking out in support of Israel and in opposition to the Iranian regime. These are really brave voices that maybe give us a glimpse of hope that the days of hate are...
Well, Iran is run
Donald
by
Trump-
fucking shitheads.
For the first 4 decades, Jewish people. Welcome back. Chechnya. Well,
here we go.
In today's video, we discuss another carnivore nearly dying from 2 heart attacks, and Shawn Baker defends this. Roll the titles. Making informed decisions and then start getting your health back on track. And on that bombshell, to the video. So very quickly, some context. A lady in her late 60s who has been strict carnivore for 5 years and keto for a good few years before has had 2 near fatal heart attacks. The lady who had the heart attack has a friend called Kelly Hogan, and she has a YouTube channel. The lady didn't want to be on camera but wanted her case discussing, so Kelly interviewed Dr. Phil Avadia, a cardiac surgeon, about this case. Now that video is nearly an hour long, in which Dr. Phil Avadia plays down the heart attacks by giving every excuse under the sun of why that lady had the heart attacks. He talks environmental toxins that the lady may have been exposed to during her lifetime and many other idiotic excuses, but he fails to discuss the elephant in the room, her diet. Now, I'm not going to break apart Kelly Hogan's video because it gets absolutely ridiculous in places, but what I want to do is break apart Shawn Baker's response, so let's jump in.
So just to summarize, this is a 69-year-old woman. So, you know, she's up there in age. She's been doing a carnivore diet for about 5 years, but prior to that, she'd already had significant cardiovascular disease known. She had significant calcification, I think.
Yes, correct, she did have disease progression, but Shawn is failing to mention here that before she was carnivore, the lady was keto for a good few years, all years that saw increased clogging of her arteries.
She said she was in the 82nd percentile for...
Yeah. So she was on a diet high in saturated fat, low in fiber, high in animal foods. She was having disease progression. She then went carnivore. Disease still progressed. And then she had a heart attack, and he's trying to deny that this dietary pattern had anything to do with it. What a genius.
Coronary calcium. So she'd already had this sort of environment to cause heart disease. What that was could be a number of things. And the question was, well, what do you do in that situation?
Maybe, just maybe, you look at the obvious things that are known to cause heart attacks and you don't do those things.
And some of the things that came to light was that this woman continued to see progression of her coronary disease with repeated calcium scores. And
yeah, Black Pill reality, if you refuse to debate me in Discord over whether or not cats can be vegan, I'm banning you. So, you have an opportunity. There you go. If you care so much about animals and want to convince people to feed their pet a good diet, there's your opportunity. I'll give you 2 minutes. If you don't go in my Discord, you're banned.
Nothing was really changed. You know, she just kind of continued on. I don't think maybe the physician taking care of her had an interest in the fact that her coronary score was going up. Maybe they did. Doesn't sound like that was really addressed. And some of the points that Phil Avadia bring up, which largely I agree with, I think, for the most part, is, you know, this person could have ongoing inflammatory issues due to, you know, potentially environmental.
Big nose, big ass, big boobs. I think I'd go big nose, then big butt, then big boobs. I don't really care much about boobs. I'd much prefer a girl with a big nose over big boobs. I'd rather have a big nosed chick with a flat chest than a, small nosed person with big boobs.
Things.
Couldn't possibly be her meat-only diet, could it? And this is why I have zero respect for these carnivore doctors. If I saw a lot of vegans who were getting heart attacks 5 to 10 years after going vegan, I would be shouting from the rooftops that this needs looking into. Shawn Baker and these carnivore and keto doctors who push these diets have zero interest in looking at the genuine reasons why so many people are having heart attacks and strokes, because it is not good for their business.
It could be that she's still...
Oh, look at that. Congratulations. You're banned, Black Pill Truth. Or Black Pill Reality. So good job, dude. You're too much of a pussy to debate me.
Was, fairly insulin resistant, which certainly is possible. And we talk about, what are the things, how do we assess insulin resistance? There are lab markers. You can do things like a HOMO-IR score, which involves a fasting insulin and a fasting glucose. There are things like the triglyceride glucose index, which Phil did not mention, which again, triglycerides and glucose can kind of give you a idea. There's a formula for that. You can also look at the waist to height ratio. And I think that's in my view, that's a very telling one, because most people have access to that. All you need is a tape measure, and you need to know what your height is. And you should be looking, ideally, for a waist of around 46% of your height.
I mean, is this guy joking? A woman has 2 back-to-back heart attacks and nearly dies, and he wants someone to get a tape measure out and measure her waist. But let's not talk about her diet.
Truck's gone. Now, so if you are still insulin resistant, and honestly, probably the easiest way to assess this is look at your belly size. You still got a belly, you're probably insulin resistant. So that has to be a priority of just getting rid of that excessive belly fat. And that, that can take diet, that can take sleep, that can take exercise, that can take not being sedentary. There's a lot of things that go into that. The other thing that was discussed was the concept of ongoing inflammatory issues, and there's ways to assess that with laboratory assessments.
This lady was fit and active and on the best diet on the planet. After 8 to 10 years of being on the keto and carnivore diets, there is absolutely no way that Shawn Baker is seriously saying here that she was insulin resistant. After all, for the last 8 years, he has been saying that the carnivore diet gets rid of insulin and blood sugar issues.
They mentioned the high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, which is, an acute phase reaction. Is pretty sensitive, pretty decent test. What might drive that? And you have to remember that even if your diet is dialed in and your sleep's dialed in, and you do a lot of these things, there are still potential issues within the environment. Let's say you live in a really polluted city. I mean, that's a potential concern for some people. So as much as I am a proponent of, low carb, ketogenics, and carnivore diets for the mitigation of many diseases, because that clearly is occurring, and I think it's a wonderful tool for that. We also have to be aware that, there are a number of things that impact that outside of diet. You think about our environment.
It's funny he is so dismissive of the diet causing these issues. Any rational person would say, let's look at all of the obvious factors, so diet, environment and lifestyle. Not Shawn though, he wants to skip the diet and focus more on the obscure. Billions of people in the world live in polluted cities and don't die from heart disease. Millions of people also eat way too much saturated fat in their diets and die from heart disease, and this has known mechanisms. But because this is not good for Shawn Baker...
Shout out Miss Katie in the chat, she is a proud nigger. Nice intelligent gooning faster retard. I want to motorboat Miss Katie. I don't care if they are dusty vrrmm yum I love a sexy gilf llllll.
Alright, well thank you for that, Welkin at Dusk. Appreciate the donation, dude.
His business, he wants to just sweep it under the carpet.
How we interface with the environment. Where's the biggest interaction point. And most people don't realize this, but you think about our skin, how much skin is exposed to the environment. Well, our skin really is designed to keep stuff out. We get into trouble when we cut it, and then there's a portal of entry. But generally, even though we have a large surface area, our skin is designed to keep things out. Now, we compare that to our gut. Now, as some of you may know, our gut, inside of my mouth, my intestines, all the way to the back end, are completely external to our human body. This is actually outside our body, technically. And the surface area of our gut, when you take into all the villi, microvilli, ends up being about the size of a tennis court, which is significant. And on top of that, our gut is designed to bring things in. You think about it, if our gut was like our skin, we couldn't bring things in, we would starve to death because we got to bring it.
Shawn, just say her diet could have been the cause here. It shouldn't be so difficult unless you are so dogmatic.
Those nutrition molecules and liquid and things like that. And so the gut actually is more, it's easier to get things into our body through the gut. The lungs to some degree are similar, not to the extent the gut is, but it's just a smaller surface area. So the problem becomes, what are the other things that could expose you to irritants or inflammatory things? Could it be through the skin? There are things that get through the skin. There are solvents and other things that do absorb through the skin. There are, obviously things that we ingest and inhale. So those things could potentially be something to be sorted out. Now, some of those things I can't control that I live in the middle of LA. I mean, I live there and I don't have if that's your situation, you don't have a choice with it. So you have to keep that in mind. And so when it comes to, as Phil suggested, some people, maybe lipid lowering is the answer here. It's just one of those things where it's, in many ways it's nuanced, because a lot of physicians are just basically, we'll just put you on a drug and that's the answer for everything.
Why is it so difficult for him to say it could be likely her diet caused or contributed to her heart attacks? And there was me thinking it was us vegans who were meant to be cult-like.
When it ultimately becomes down to much, much more than that in many cases. And I think that one of the other things we have to realize is while I believe a carnivore diet is generally healthy for most people, all of us are going to pass away at some point. There's no getting around that. I mean, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you...
Does everyone with Down syndrome have autism?
No, I don't think so. Thanks for the donation, Speed Racer.
I think you've got the solution to immortality. In my view, no one does. No one will escape that. And
correct, but this lady had been on strict carnivore and keto for 8 to 10 years, and she should have been best placed to avoid heart attacks being on the perfect diet, certainly not having multiple heart attacks before she was 70.
So the real question is, this is a 69-year-old person with no significant heart disease. And if you were to compare that person at 64 when she started this to a cohort of similar, patients with cardiac disease over a period of 5 years, what would be the percentage of people that would develop heart disease? And I suspect it's probably significant, to have an event at that level. If you're in the 82nd percentile for cardiovascular disease at age 64, probably a very large percent of those people would go on to develop heart disease.
But her heart disease significantly increased while keto and carnivore. I don't understand why it's so difficult for him to acknowledge this.
And is this person, is this event less likely or more likely because they're on carnivore? And, I suspect it's probably, the same or less, probably most likely, but it'll be interesting to see. Anyway, so check out the video, Kelly Hogan, if you want to watch this full of it. It's about an hour long. I did listen to it.
Jalen donated want to begin bicep curls this week. Any tips? Do them with good technique and use a weight that you can manage. That's really it. Thanks for the donation, though, Jalen.
A little bit last night and then finished it up this morning because somebody asked me to do that and comment on that. And so, again, I think it makes sense to, like I said, get that gut down. That is incredibly important. If you're a guy walking around with a big old beer belly, I don't care what else is going on. Get rid of that thing. You got to put in the work, put in the time, diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, so on and so forth.
The lady who had the heart attacks was doing all of these things.
You know, get some of this other information. I'm a big fan of serial examinations of cardiac imaging because that can tell you, is this thing progressing? Is it regressing? Is it staying the same? You know, and you know, at the very least, you want it to progress minimally, stay the same. Or in some cases, we actually have seen some evidence of regression, which I think is quite interesting to see. All right, guys, let me know what you think about this situation, what your thoughts are. Go check it out if you don't know Kelly Hogan. She's got a wonderful channel. She's a wonderful person.
You know why. He is traveling the world and giving talks. He's been
Jalen donated $2. How much you curl? The most I've done is 70s for sets of 5. Thanks for the donation, Jalen.
Building a carnivore medicine empire, and it is not good for business to acknowledge that lots of people on the carnivore and keto diets are having heart attacks and strokes. It just shows the type of people they are. Profits and ego before people. Now, I've already called Shawn Baker out in previous videos in which he downplayed people on carnivore having strokes. His comment section were littered with people saying that they had strokes and heart attacks, and he never once acknowledged any of these. This guy is an absolute joke. Let me know in the comment section.
Just wait. Again, it's only a matter of time until Shawn Baker gets a heart attack, and if he survives, you know, you'll see him make a video. Oh, why did I get a heart attack? Maybe it was something environmental. Like, yeah, they'll cope endlessly. They're just, you know, dogmatic lunatics.
Data from a Harvard-trained economist. It looks like Putin's economy might actually be in danger of imminent collapse. How exactly did old Vladdy Daddy cook his own economy trying to beat the Ukrainians? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's talk about it. Plus, how much longer can Russia really keep this up? Anyway, this is a really interesting op-ed that initially appeared in Fortune as it's actually 3 very, very credentialed economists here. When you look up their background, these guys are senior.
No, I'm not gonna stay clean shaven. The ingrown hairs and shit really irritate my face, so I'm just gonna grow a beard again. Yeah.
Advisors to countries. In the case of Jeffrey Sonfield, he was literally got his PhD in Harvard and now teaches at the Yale School of Management. So this is not like amateur hour here. And this is a sprawling, really, to call it an op-ed is pretty light. This is a absolutely sprawling, I guess you could call it like not quite an academic paper, but pretty close to it, right? Around several thousand words, in which they describe how the Russian economy has a lot of warning indicators flashing pretty loudly right now. And they acknowledge that Russia's public face has said that its economy is actually humming along pretty well. It reports to have a healthy 9% inflation rate. You might recall, if you're in my US audience, that a 9% inflation rate sucks if you're a consumer, right? And that the average Russian is experiencing a way higher rate of inflation. They actually think that it's closer to 27% in terms of the real inflation rate. And that Russia, who planned on using a literal war chest of foreign reserves that it's accumulated over 20 years, that it's actually going to burn through those. About half of that war chest has actually been seized and is sitting in Western accounts where the interest it's accruing is actually being donated to Ukraine. And then Putin thinks that it still has a lot of money in the Chinese central bank, but it's not clear that China would be willing to let that go. Certainly not on the cheap. And to make things even worse, the oil and gas sector is something that Russia claims is thriving, right? It says, oh, revenues have never been higher. But again, if you think the actual inflation rate is closer to 24%, then what you have is actually a situation where increasing taxes on things like liquid natural gas producers and Gazprom are not actually increasing revenues, right? Because here's the thing to think about, and they make an interesting point. You know, Russia says, hey, we're spending more rubles next year on our defense. We're increasing our defense budget. But will those increased rubles actually buy more things? Again, these economists say, no, it's a trick, because just like saying, hey, we've never spent more on groceries, right? But is that true? Are you getting more groceries for what you're spending? No, you say, oh, our grocery budget's never been higher. But if you still buy the same bread, the same meat, the same cheese, the same milk, then you're not actually getting more. And they argue that that's what Russia's basically in their entire war economy is doing. And the problem is, unlike you in the grocery store, right? There's no amount you could spend at the grocery store to drive up the entire price of milk, right? You couldn't do it. Even if you went in and spent your whole grocery budget on milk, you still probably wouldn't even clear out all the milk in the stores. But if you're a government, the economists argue, that's absolutely what you can do. They call it cannibalizing, right? They cannibalize productive assets in order to fund the war machine. And these productive assets take a whole bunch of forms, right? For example, a lot of payments and investments that would otherwise be spent driving Russia's economy are actually social welfare payments, right? These are payments to the families of dead and wounded soldiers. These are pensioners. And military payments alone represent about 4% of all consumer spending by Russians. That's pretty scary. Imagine if you had so many dead and wounded that 1 in every $25 spent in your economy was done by wounded soldiers and their families. It would be, again, a sign of a broken economy that's spending way more than it's actually making, right? And you could see it, right? 60% of Russian physicians say that their salaries are insufficient to meet basic needs. Let that sink in. Again, Russian doctors, highly trained doctors, say we don't make enough to buy the basics: rent, heat, water, food. 80% of physicians work multiple jobs to make ends meet. So again, if you aren't one of these soldiers, you see that the salaries they're making...
Dude, Russia is like Cuba. What the fuck? How do doctors not, be able to afford food?
React.
Let me take a look.
Hello, everybody. It's Ethan Klein from my basement.
We literally just watched that, 15, 20 minutes ago. Thanks for the donation, though, retard.
Are probably high, but they're not as high as the real inflation rate, the things that Russians actually need to function day to day. Of course, they also talk about the fact that Russia's having a massive brain drain. Because when Putin announced his first wave of mobilization, basically every Russian who could scrounge together $3,000 got on a flight out of the country, and they haven't come back. So again, physicians, where their salaries, again, should be at an all-time high because there's so few remaining in Russia, that they still can't meet their basic needs. So this is all the data they talk about. IT workers have had their salaries in real terms decreased by 25%. Again, that's in part because of an exodus of multinational companies, and it's also because, again, while their salaries rise, they're not rising as fast as inflation, meaning functionally they are. The number on their paycheck is greater, but it buys them less things in the Russian economy. Again, when we look and we ask, okay, well, this is just an op-ed, right? Maybe they're just not really, maybe things are fine. But let's look at the chart here. This is the 5-year chart, by the way, guys. Let's see if we can make this just a little bit bigger so we can really see it. Okay, here we go. Right, so we look at the 5-year chart. Now you can see that in the initial outset of the invasion and the initial outset of Western sanctions against Russia, the ruble, you couldn't give away a ruble. This is how many rubles it takes to buy $1, right? You couldn't give away the ruble. And then the Russian central bank really fought tirelessly and stabilized it. In fact, the ruble was never more valuable against the US dollar than in June of 2024. You can see what's happened over the last 2 years is that the ruble was rising in price. And then again, in October, it seems like the Russian central bank managed to stabilize it. But now there's a third surge, and it's moving faster than we've almost ever seen, short of the actual sanctions themselves. And this is now seeing the ruble climb from 84 rubles buys you a buck to 97 rubles buys you a buck. And I think it's pretty clear. There's actually some rumors that Putin has said he doesn't want the ruble to exceed 100, but there's limits to how possible these sort of things are. And that's one of the real problems. And you can see that, again, prior to the invasion, right, 2021, you're looking about 74 was about the healthy exchange rate of rubles to dollars. Now, again, prior to COVID in 2019, you're looking about 63, 64. So in those 4 years, you can see that you're talking about a 30 to 35% increase. Again, when you look at things over the last year, you can see that they defended the ruble against the dollar and other currencies, right? Defending it all the way down to 84. And now it's just not clear that they can continue to. And when I say defend it, what happens is a lot of times in these countries, their central bank will actually buy or sell currencies. They'll sell rubles and buy yuan or euros in order to sort of prop up their currency. And Russia has to play a...
So cool if I jump into your waiting room for just 2 minutes. Maybe you can give me some training advice. Yeah, sure. It's no problem. There you go. I am so goddamn tired, dude. I don't know if I can go on for much longer. I am fucking wiped. Yeah, Twitch is for literal retards. Grey Knight, what's up? Your mic is muted. There
Hear
we
me?
go. Yep,
Cool. How you doing, Richard?
pretty good.
All right. So, figured I'd give you I'm a little slow speaker, and I'm kind of nervous because I'm a big fan of yours.
It's all right.
Anyway, so my idea of my training schedule, I work out weight train 4 days a week, pull, push, legs and shoulders, shoulder/core, and I do jujitsu twice a week for cardio. Now, usually I have either 6 to 8 workouts during each day, but I might reduce it for the time being due to I have a certificate exam coming up this December, so I might reduce it to whatever I can get done within an hour. And by that is, I'll give an example. So on my pull days, my idea is to do deadlifts, hammer curls, and either pull-ups or lateral pull downs. If I can get those 3 done within an hour, then I'll do something else. And you kind of get the idea, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of confused what you mean by 6 workouts in a day.
So here, I'll give you my full list. So pull days, deadlifts, hammer curls, lateral
You
pull
mean
downs.
exercises in a day?
Yes, that's what I mean. Sorry.
Okay. And over the 4 days, it's push, pull, and then what are the 2 others?
Legs and shoulders/core. And then jujitsu twice a week is my idea for cardio.
Okay, I would just put legs in the push day if you can, because that doesn't sound like nearly enough frequency, especially for legs. Like, why don't you do push, pull,
Okay.
push, pull, and then push including quads?
Hold on, I'm writing it down. So push, pull, you in the same day?
No, push day 1, pull day 2, push day 3, pull day 4, but just include quad training on the push day, and
Okay.
along with shoulder training, and then for pull day, just include some hamstring work.
Okay.
Because it doesn't sound like you're
I'm
getting
writing.
enough frequency.
Okay. Okay. What else? I mean, I can always. I'm a subscriber, so I can always watch, replay the stream, and just move out. God damn it! Let me
And huh?
Never mind. My girlfriend's calling me. Mind if I give you 2 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
All right. I'll get back to you.
All right. I'll use this opportunity for a piss break. I'm just gonna go take a piss. I'll be right back.
How was your little pee break?
Pretty good. I had to piss for a while.
Huh. That's good. All right. So pull it. So for pull, you asked me. You recommend I include some hamstrings, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything you recommend me to add for push workouts? My 3 main ones are chest press, bench press, chest flies, and dips.
Yeah, those are good.
Okay.
I don't
And
think
then
you.
my legs.
Yeah, you might want to include like an incline variation, just so your clavicular pec is hit. I don't think you need that much volume for it, as long as you have like one
Okay.
exercise for the week.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'll write that down. And then for legs, my 3 main ones are squats, lunges, and leg press.
Yeah, those are good.
Okay. And then what do I have for shoulders? I wrote it down. Hold on. Shoulders are kind of random for me. I have like so I have like technically 4. Well, no, I have 6. So, and usually I have them on my days when I'm off from work. So my whole list is overhead shoulder press, shrugs, lateral raises, upright rows, front raises, and rear delt flies.
Okay, I would definitely get rid of front raises. I think they're pretty much useless.
Okay.
I would include some more side delt work. So, just normal lateral raises are fine. A really good lateral raise variation are incline lateral raises. So you just set the bench to an incline, and then you sit on it on your side, and then you get a deeper stretch in your delt.
Okay.
That's a really good one.
All right.
Shrugs aren't a shoulder exercise. Those are for your traps, but that's fine.
Okay. All right. So I'm see if I can fit them all like during my next couple of months of training. And I already told you my cardio days. It's just martial arts.
Yeah.
I try to fill in like at least 15 minutes of jump ropes. I also have battle ropes. Well, I think you said they're useless, right?
Well, I mean, if you're just using it for aerobic exercise, you know, it's fine.
Okay. 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 All right. I think I'm all set. And like I said, whatever I don't get on here, I can always look back on the stream and just like up to this point. All right.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it, Richard. Thanks so much.
And while you have to reduce the amount of training you're doing while you're studying or whatever, you can just do fewer sets. So just do 1 or 2 sets rather than like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, whatever you normally do.
Okay. And just try to like overload within like the like less sets I have.
Yeah. So try to follow the same basic progression scheme. It might take you longer to actually progress. So rather than being able to add 5 pounds every week, you might have to add 5 pounds every 2-3 weeks. But same basic progression strategy.
Yeah. What I usually do is I start off with like before I started training. Well, when I started training, I started like 6 reps minimum, and then I go up 1 rep every week until I hit like 12 reps, and then I increase the weight like either 5 to 10 pounds, and I go back to 6 reps each set. Usually the weights are all the same on all sets.
I think you're starting a little too low in the repetition range. If you're doing 6 rep sets, that's like close to 80% of your 1RM, like relative intensity. And if you try to
start,
sorry,
that's just a start. 6 reps is a start, and then the week I add another rep, like 7 the week next week, 8 reps the week after, and then when I hit 12, then I'll go up.
But what I'm saying is, in order to actually get a like hypertrophic or strength benefit from doing sets of 6, you're talking about something that's close to 80% of your 1RM for relative intensity. So if you're trying to increase 1 rep each week with a weight that's around 80% 1RM, that's very difficult. So I would generally recommend having that sort of progression strategy if you're lifting 8 reps or more. Because that's closer to like 70%.
Okay, let me I'm just writing it down. Hold on. Okay. I really appreciate the talk, Richard.
Yeah, no problem, dude. If you have any more questions, just feel free to ask to come in.
Sure. And I also follow you on IG, so I'll shoot you a DM if I,
All right,
need anything.
sick.
Thanks again, man.
All right, see you,
And
dude.
Take care.
Okay.
Additional games to make this happen. Now, we're going to talk about what the other thing that Russia needs to sustain its economy, oil, and how, man, they are in trouble in the oil department too. But before I do that, of course, if you want to support this channel, keep me independent. I don't take money from governments. I don't take money from
thanks for the membership, Speed Racer.
Shady Russian media companies. Instead, I rely.
Did Eisel's channel get banned, or did he just delete everything off his channel?
On you guys, the audience, to support me. And you can do that over on combatvetnews.com. This is my site. It's my version of Patreon, where we have a whole bunch of different tiers that get you access to twice weekly uncensored combat footage straight from the front lines. Sometimes it's as little as a day old, and it's uncensored GoPros, drone footage. It gives us insight we can't get anywhere else. But if you really appreciate it, you can get access to the weekly Q&As, the shout-outs, even the by name recognition, depending on your tier. So the link is in the description. Check it out, combatvetnews.com. Keep me independent. I appreciate you guys. Okay, so another economist from Johns Hopkins has, again, said that the real inflation rate is about 27%, and the ruble is just indefensible, right? So we're looking at a growing consensus among economists that the ruble is really in trouble. But don't worry, Putin says, we have our secret weapon. Gazprom, right? The ability of Russian state-owned or state-affiliated companies who are heavily taxed can still pull out crude oil from the ground and sell it. And for much of this conflict, that's been true because Putin is a brilliant strategist. Like, don't kid yourself. The man knows what's up. And he knew that when he invaded Ukraine, it would cause a spike in gas prices because nobody really knew what was going to happen to the price of a barrel of oil. It meant that as long as Putin could continue to sell oil, that he would be able to make a lot of money. And you could see that that's exactly what happened, right? He invades Ukraine, and it was climbing, and then suddenly it spikes. $115 a barrel, $118 a barrel. And then slowly, things start to look a little better, right? We realize that oil and gas production is not actually going to decrease, but thanks to the price cap, oil's become pretty plentiful and pretty cheap, right? Down to $75, $80, $90 a barrel, right? The global price. And you can literally see this looks a lot like the ruble chart, doesn't it? Right? And it's not an accident. It's because the number one thing that Russia does with rubles, number one thing that the global economy does with rubles is buy Russian oil. And so you have this problem. And that is what's happened over the last, we're going to say, 3 months or so. You could see that the weekly oil price was at 81 in July, $81 a barrel, right? October 11th, it was down to 74. But now, and again, and you could see the U.S.'s ally, Saudi Arabia, has finally come out and said, listen, we are going to ramp up crude production because we want to undercut Russia's revenues. Right? This is according to Politico. Riyadh saying, listen, we used to say, hey, we want to try to keep oil at $100 a barrel, but we can't compete with Russia, who's, again, selling it at 60. And so they said, you know what? We want to make sure that we are the global winner in oil, and we're going to do a favor to our friends, the United States, and we are going to start to pump out oil like it's going out of style. And so sure enough,
well, it sounds mostly like good news. Hopefully, Russia can't afford to kill Ukrainians for too much longer.
Tate is a grifter, alleged human trafficker, and unfortunately, and this is true,
Deep Patel donated $2. Love Russians. Did they like crash? The fuck? Alright, well thanks for the donation, Deep Patel.
a CoffeeZilla fan.
CoffeeZilla, who I actually kind of respected and thought had a brain.
That is until I investigated him. Now he's having a meltdown and doesn't like me anymore.
This is my statement to you, CoffeeZilla. You're a Nobody's scared of your investigation. I don't give a about your video. I don't respect your journalism.
Ah, yes. The normal reaction for people who don't care. Melting down on Twitter about how not worried you are. We'll come to Tate's mental breakdown in a moment, but you should know this isn't Tate and I's first run-in. He didn't like it when I exposed his get-rich-quick scheme over a year ago, but this time Tate stepped into my territory. Said he was going to launch a crypto coin. So I immediately pointed out that over a year ago, Tate said that he didn't need to rob his fans, and he wasn't going to launch a coin. Tate replied, "Imagine being such a great detective you can't detect a joke." Now, I'll admit that one stung a little bit, and when I did some research, I realized I had been tricked.
Are you going to launch your own crypto?
No, I'm never gonna launch a crypto. I just like to with crypto Twitter. Because crypto Twitter are full of the biggest degenerate losers on the planet. They're losers. Crypto is the only scenario I can think of where you can make a whole bunch of money while benefiting society zero.
Well, there you have it. I mean, I can apologize. I can admit when I'm wrong. Clearly, it was a joke. Tate would never actually scam people with a coin. Oh, turns out he did. Multiple times. And now is planning to launch a coin.
He must be really desperate for money.
If you stay subscribed to his get-rich-quick scheme. So we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to investigate it. But first, we have to catch up with the Tate brothers. What have they been up to besides getting arrested? Most people know the Tates from clips talking about the Matrix, politics, and feminism, but the two brothers have made almost all their money from something else. According to Tate, the way they got rich was webcams. Taking advantage of lonely men, they bragged about it.
And me and my brother, and eventually some staff I trained, would do all the talking. The girls were just famoosers. We were taking their money, all of it.
And then they broke into male empowerment, which is ironic, teaching dating, manliness, and of course, money. You could join Hustlers University for $49 a month, where the best hustle was students reselling the course to their friends, which actually got the Tates quite popular because they encouraged the students to post their videos everywhere. But with that popularity came scrutiny, as old clips of the webcam business started surfacing, and not everyone found it as funny as Andrew did.
PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm...
Yeah, that didn't age really that well. Now, eventually, Romanian courts charged the Tate brothers with human trafficking. And although the Tates deny these claims, the PhD course almost perfectly describes the lover boy method, which is a type of human trafficking. Most of the Tate's fans aren't even aware of these allegations because the Tate brothers have become experts at what I like to call the rebrand. This is where you completely 180 on a topic and pretend you never changed your mind. And this will be important later when we come to crypto. But watch for a second how Andrew Tate, a guy who made his money running webcams, now talks about the entertainment business while wearing a turtleneck.
Let's accept pornography is bad for a society. Mm-hmm. Let's accept that to be a fact. It is true. Okay, yeah. Why are they trying to destroy the society? Who are these people? What is their end goal? Is their end goal the of children? Is their end goal 12-year-olds to sit there and watch and want to have
I mean, the balls to say, what are they up to? What do you think their goal is? Bro, you are they. If there was a cabal, you're part of it. You admit to making millions of dollars, making the kind of stuff you're now claiming is ruining the youth. That is the skill that Tate has honestly mastered. And we're going to watch them use that with crypto as well. Either way, though, these criminal charges have put a lot of pressure on the Tate brothers, who've had cars, cash, and computers seized. And amidst all of that, crypto has become much more interesting to them. Not that the Tates are new to crypto, of course, but they've sort of fully embraced the crypto meme coin grift. And just like with the webcams, they do a bit of a rebrand.
My problem with crypto is that it instigated a culture which I didn't like. I didn't like the crypto culture as a whole because the culture was based on getting in early, which, I mean, I guess you could argue is a skill, but to a degree is luck. Gambling, rug pulls, staying anon, hiding like a little coward in a hole, like a little bitch, and just being a degen, laughing about how you're a Once I decided I was going to fix it, I decided I had to come up with an idea that allowed people to make money from the things they should make money from, which is hard work.
There it is. The Tates are here to fix crypto. It used to be full of scams, rug pulls, and anons before Andrew Tate got involved, but now everything's about to change. So we're going to look at the coins that Andrew and his brother promoted and see what kind of fixing they got up to, starting with Roost. Honestly, this is...
If the government repossessed your vehicles, which one would you miss most? Definitely the sidecar.
Your textbook Ponzi coin, exactly the type of thing Tate would call a scam a year ago, but now...
Which religion has crazier law, Scientology or Mormonism? This video is crazy. Watch the entire thing. PLS some notable parts are 110 and 215.
We've already watched this on stream before. I would say Mormonism. It's unhinged nonsense that doesn't make any sense, and they literally just copied the names and characters from Judaism and Christianity and made it an entirely new thing. Like, at least Scientology is just a science fiction, you know? Mormonism is definitely crazier. Thanks for the donation, Blackie.
He and his brother heavily promoted it over multiple videos. They even had flyers in their videos. And of course, during the promotion, the price did well. But when it was over, Roost is now down over 90%. Not only that, Roost's treasury wallet got hacked. So the community literally got scammed. And to make it worse, the guy who got hacked was anonymous. So remind me what Andrew Tate doesn't like about crypto again?
Gambling, rug pulls, staying anon, hiding like a little coward in a hole, like a little
Oh, the same thing he promoted. But of course, Tate claims that he doesn't hold coins, he doesn't endorse coins, and he makes zero money. That is until other crypto promoters got tired of his grift and called him out for doing the same paid promotions they were doing. But you don't have to believe that guy. You can also look at the time Tate got exposed for trying to get Barron Trump to let him buy Donald Trump tokens at a lower price. In exchange, he'd pump it. So much for not owning coins, I guess. That was brought to my attention by Zach XBT, who also pointed out that Tate promoted something called Venom Block.
Why are soldiers so underpaid? Athletes and actors get paid millions for entertainment. Why not pay soldiers millions? They risk their lives in order to protect our freedoms.
Well, they definitely deserve it, but there's no way you could cover that expense with tax dollars. So if you were to pay each soldier like $1 million, you would, like, everybody would be paying like 99% tax. Thanks for the donation though, Speed Racer.
His brother talked about it on a live stream.
Bitcoin, ETH, exciting stuff like Venom Network.
And of course, that price is down as well. Tate also promoted F Madonna token. And of course, that ended badly too. This stuff is such garbage. Here's another one of Tate's coins, which is down over 90% as well. Or you can look at this coin, Daddy token. You know, which makes sense given that Tate is sick of crypto being infantile, childish, and degenerate. And that's just the start of it. That's just the sludge you have to walk through to get to the...
Death of Rabbit donated $2. Navy as a freak lesbo man, Alawali is black, Donimus Julius is a barbarian imposter, Seymour Butts is a closeted Russian supporter, Verdant Jedi is a sand nigga, last but not least, Richard is a soy boy, book roasted bitch. Okay, thank you for that, Death of Rabbit. Appreciate the donation, dude.
Main token. The main project Tate keeps promising, which is Real World Token. All of those others, if you want to believe Tate, were just promotions. Tate claims that this is the coin he's actually behind. and it's tied to his paid course. It used to be called Hustlers University. Now it's called The Real World. Now, this has always kind of been the biggest part of Tate's businesses, this get-rich-quick scheme.
Saw a comment describing Mormonism as the United States version of Islam. Well, in the way in which it was a completely made-up scam, it's similar to Islam. As far as the ethical principles it teaches, no. Like, Mormons are probably the least likely group of people to attack you because they have differing religious beliefs. They, like, blindside you with, you know, the most insane politeness that you'll ever fucking see. So yeah, you won't ever see a Mormon stabbing somebody to death because you're wearing like, you drew a picture of David Smith or something.
But the problem with monthly subscriptions is, of course, that people drop out. They leave. And so the Tates have always tried tactics to get people to stay. Like they've said, Hustlers University was closing. It's almost full.
We do have a cap. So anyone who quits or leaves at any time, if the cap is reached while you're not subscribed, you're not getting in. Don't give a shit.
That's it. We're closing.
We're closing.
But now the new angle is this real world token. Tate is promising a crypto airdrop to people who subscribe and stay subscribed to his monthly Get Rich Quick course.
This is also very important for you people who think you can join for a month and quit the real world and just go back to being a nobody. No. You have to stay inside to increase your rank, to get your power level. Because if you quit and then you rejoin, you lose all your power points. So why would you lose all your power points to save $49? It doesn't even make sense.
Okay, so Tate's new plan is that you buy a Get Rich Quick.
Yeah, somebody told me Abbas Lasil's channel was banned. Was it banned or did he delete it? Like, was it confirmed that it was banned? Because it seems far more likely to me that it would get deleted by him. The only thing I could figure is his channel may have been banned because his Melissa's family got a lawyer and directly contacted YouTube about like spousal abuse or something. That's another plausible angle, but he's such a small channel, like he's not on anybody's radar, right? So yeah, there's things here and there that he does where he'll call somebody a fat ugly retard or something, which, you know, can get you a community guideline strike, but with a channel his size, you're not going to get enough people reporting it for anything to happen. So the more likely possibility to me would be Eisel just deleted it. The second most likely possibility is Melissa's family got a lawyer and just got that lawyer to submit some sort of complaint to YouTube where they deleted his channel because there was clearly like spousal abuse content. Scare Theater did do a video on him. Like, is he gonna do another one? But yeah. Well, yeah, maybe with Scare Theater's video, people went over and reported him. It's possible.
Course, gain power points. You have to stay subscribed to keep your power points. And then they say they will pay you a percentage that their school makes.
The goal is that you can buy the token and own a percentage of the school. So imagine you sign up for the real world, you start to make money, you focus on your tasks, then you can invest that money in the real world token and get paid every single month a monthly dividend from the profits of the school.
All right, I think I get it. So you got the people at the bottom, they're paying up into the course, into the school. Then you got the people higher with higher power levels. They're making money from people at the bottom with the coin. And then that all...
that it's oddly pyramid shaped.
That money flows up. It's just kind of this nice little pyramid scheme. Come to think of it, it is a little surprising that Tate claims to be working hand in hand with the SEC on this.
I am working with the SEC so that the real world token can be launched as a security.
Now, maybe that is all true, but maybe Tate actually has another plan.
SEC, come from me. I'm in Romania. There ain't no SEC in Romania. We're scammers. We're out here doing what we want. I'm gonna pump a coin up, make 10M, peel it off.
Well, I'll be honest, that could be it too. Now at this point, I had significant evidence of Tate lying about crypto endorsements, not profiting, and using his followers as a piggy bank to pump crypto. So I figured now is the perfect time to approach Tate and get his response for comment, his side of the story. So I emailed him and his brother a list of questions about several meme coins they promoted, as well as the real world token. But instead of replying, Tate leaked my email address online and sent his war room after me, told them to email me that I'm gay. He even offered to pay money if they could prove they did it.
For every single person who can show me they have emailed CoffeeZilla and called him gay, I will buy daddy.
Well, that escalated quickly. So, let me just see if I get the plan right here.
Yeah.
The plan is dislike and call someone gay so the alpha male you like buys daddy coins for you. Got it. 800 emails later, a word cloud of Tate's war room will give you a sense of who these guys are. But I'll also share this email I got. It's not personal, Coffee Breaks. I really want Andrew to raise the price of daddy's coin. And he says he's going to pump money into the coin. Trust me, it's nothing personal, but I bought a lot of the coin and I have to do this, so please forgive me. I mean, you can almost smell the desperation. Get rich quick by hurling slurs at a journalist. But absurdity aside, I have to say this is disgusting. It's not normal to be mocking people based on internal characteristics. And even though I have thick skin, I will admit, some of it got to me. Specifically, Tate called me a DNG, a dork, nerd, geek. I'll admit, he hit a nerve here. Now, before I get 800 emails about being a nerd, I'll tell you, the reason I'm annoyed may not be what you think. Sure, I might use word clouds from time to time, but I just couldn't believe.
Abel donated $2. Is getting a tattoo really as painful as people say it is? Not really. Kind of depends where. There's some sensitive spots on your body. In your inside your elbow. That's a pretty sensitive spot, but everywhere else really isn't that bad. Thanks for the donation though, Abel.
Believe who it was coming from. These two guys, I've seen their live streams. And I gotta say, the Tates give me real competition in the dork, nerd, geek department.
You can join the council via the courses tab. Then, of course, we will have kings, rooks, bishops, knights. You will all get a base allocation. This means that if you're a knight, you should work as hard as possible to become a bishop, to work as hard as possible to become a rook, to work as hard as possible to become a king, because you know the day this imaginary project comes true, you will be rewarded for all of that hard work in cold, hard cash.
Okay, let me start by saying there's nothing wrong with being a geek or a nerd. But anyone who has a council to join, entitles people bishops, rooks, and knights, loses the right to the pejorative. Newsflash, the Tate brothers are nerds. They're nerds on steroids. For legal reasons, I mean that figuratively. But haven't you noticed that they're obsessed with the Matrix, councils, and chess, all things very much in the domain of nerds? Just because you try to slap a rented supercar in the middle of all of it doesn't mean we're fooled. Anyone who says increase your power levels is automatically a massive nerd. But beyond this cope, Andrew Tate's real opponent isn't even me. It's himself. He's the one who said horrible things about people who launch influencer coins.
There's no such thing as free money. For everyone who wins, someone else must lose. If you buy a coin for $1 and sell it for $10, someone bought it at $10. If it then goes down, the person who bought it at $10 loses money. I do not want any of my fans to ever lose money in my name ever, because I don't need money, so I refuse to sell out my fans for money.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Tate was right about that. But now he's doing exactly what he ranted against, extracting money from his fans, promoting garbage that is now down 90%. Meanwhile, the exact people defending Tate blindly are the same people who are going to be holding the bags in a few months, wondering why they aren't rich. Of course, by then, Tate will have something new to sell them.
And that is the story of Andrew Tate's new crypto exploits. All right, can you get me a Pinot Grigio, please? It has been a long day with very stupid people.
White wine? Surely that's not what you want in this episode, right?
What's the big deal?
Oh, it's fine, but they might be watching.
They? Who's the... Oh, you mean, the Matrix?
No, even worse. The alpha males.
Ah, right. Okay, scratch that. I'll just have your...
Sam Smith HQ donated $2. Can we watch Frank's video?
Basically, got an email from a...
No. Thanks for the donation, dude.
finest whiskey, then, shaken, not... Whatever, just give me that and a cigar, please.
Oh, who are we kidding? You're not being the allegations, Coffee.
What allegations?
Well, I was gonna wait to break it to you, but the allegation that your nerd levels are also off the charts.
Oh, that's what you're worried about? Yeah, I'm a nerd.
Well, Andrew Tate, dumb. But we already knew that.
It's a mystery how Jackson Hinkle is still free. Here's a video of this scumbag's speech at the UN, representing the Russians, describing his trip to the Ukrainian Russian-occupied territories.
I want to share my experiences from my recent trip to the newly liberated territories.
How is this guy speaking at the UN?
Of the Russian Federation in the Donbass. My journey took me to Mariupol, Tokmak, Berdyansk, Melitopol, and the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant over my 7-day trip, providing me with firsthand insights that starkly contradicts the lies and the narrative.
21st Savage, donated $2. What did you do to your lips? I drank a red-colored drink. Did you put your favorite watermelon lipstick on? No, I drank a red-colored drink. What game are you playing tonight, dumbass? I'm not entirely sure anymore if I'm going to play a game. I am ridiculously tired. I don't know if I can stay up much longer. It might be a better idea for me to just go to bed soon. I've had a pretty long, hard week. So I might just want to go to bed. Thanks for the donation, though, 21st Savage. Alawali donated $2. Is this Aaron P?
Hello everyone, I'm just going back for another video. And before I do the review, it has come to my attention but this is the first time having a watered down blue raspberry.
This is like Are his parents cousins?
Watered down before.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's not Aaron P. Is this Aaron P?
How would you describe your family?
I think we have an awesome family. Happy family.
Yeah.
It definitely, like, the journey has not been what I thought it was when we first got married.
Yeah, that looks like a fucking nightmare. That is also not Aaron P. Is Aaron P dead? No, he posted on his YouTube. His internet's been out because of the hurricane. Have you talked to him? Not directly. Did you ban Aaron? No. Why shave? I just set it up as a stream goal. Thanks for the donation, Alawali.
Narratives that have been propagated by the mainstream media and the Western political elite.
New Ninja Turtles game mentions veganism. Like, how is it brought up?
Here. The following 3 points that I have laid out here are based on my observations, and they reveal a very different reality to what is promoted here in the West. Number 1, Ukraine is not seeking an end to this conflict, but is instead trying to escalate it in an unthinkably dangerous manner. Number 2, the people of the Donbass do not want to remain under Ukrainian control, but instead hold a great
Yeah, that is a lie.
admiration for the Russian Federation and for President Putin. Number 3, Ukraine is not defeating Russia, but is instead using its Western support to carry out horrifying acts of terrorism against the people of the Donbass that they claim they want to save. So first, let's talk about Mariupol. It was the first place I went. During the hour-long drive into Mariupol, which we made very late in the night, I saw over 1,000 construction vehicles on the highway into the city. And that's not me being hyperbolic, it's true. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Construction teams are working diligently to rebuild not just the areas that have been destroyed by the war, but the areas that have been neglected for years and years and years by previous Ukrainian governments. In Mariupol itself, in the city, the work of these construction teams was all the more evident. There are new schools, beautiful parks, gyms, theaters, stores, hotels, and thousands of homes that have been given free to the victims of the conflict in Mariupol and for the surrounding areas. That I witnessed a horrifying campaign of terrorism against innocent civilians living in this city of Tokmak.
Yes, it's not like Russia has bombed a children's hospital. Well, this guy is just, he's clearly getting paid by the Kremlin. I think I'll save this video for another day.
Pointing out the fact that if you go to Nexus Mods and check the all-time most downloaded mods for Starfield, all of it is just fixes for Bethesda issues. There's obviously a community patch. Since Skyrim, it feels like every single game has to have that. Yeah, the first 3 pages are all the most downloaded stuff, are all fixes, overhauls of all of the mistakes that Bethesda made with Starfield, of things that didn't work, and I find that insane. So the conversation surrounding Starfield and Bethesda the last couple weeks has been as negative as it can be. And it's more so the worry that Bethesda isn't learning from their mistakes and are only doubling down on a formula that it's dry and it is not working anymore. Shattered Space is a great example of that. It was supposed to be their Far Harbor moment in which they silenced critics, but they did the exact opposite. They have instilled fear in gaming audiences with The Elder Scrolls and Fallout and future entries of those franchises, because we just have no idea what to expect from this studio anymore, and it feels like their glory days are long behind them. Shattered Space was extremely boring. It was supposed to be a traditional, handcrafted experience, again, not my words, Bethesda words, and it fell flat on its face. It was extremely boring content, it was buggy, and everything there just did not work at all. And OpenCritic, we have all of the critic review scores, about 34 here. It has a top critic average of 61, with only 32% of critics recommending the experience. This is horrible. This is on Fallout 76 levels. And then even users, it's the same story. Only 30% of 2,800 reviews are positive, with the player base shrinking drastically the last couple of weeks, and it has been since launch, as many people just do not feel Starfield. And it is worth mentioning that if you check the graph here, it's just been consistent negative reviews coming in for Shattered Space. So this isn't some giant hate campaign against Bethesda. People just do not like this content, and it's not clicking for them. Now, it is worth mentioning in regards to criticism, Bethesda learning from these mistakes, they have given no indication that they are. This was earlier this year, I think it was actually at the end of last year, and Bethesda are individually rebuting Starfield Steam reviews, defending the loading breaks and empty worlds. That's fucking insane, going to Steam and responding to critics and saying, no, you just don't get Starfield. We also had, this was recently, we talked extensively about this in the video, in which Bethesda design director Emil Pagliarulo defended Starfield, saying it's right next to Fallout and Elder Scrolls, it's part of the big three. It's not at all. And players, nobody at all considers it on those levels or even close to it. And many people do not want to see a Starfield 2 after this. And then Bethesda's head honcho has echoed this sentiment as well. In May, he said, in regards to the criticism of the game, why it was so divisive, it was too different than you've seen it from us in past. And we just got a traditional Bethesda experience, and players completely rejected it. And the response that we got from the design director, it really tells you a lot about what's going on behind the scenes at Bethesda, and it feels like they're rejecting this criticism and not at all listening. They're like, la 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 la.
Can you explain to us what's happening with John Skywalker's feet and heart? He has congestive heart failure. His heart is functioning at 15% capacity, and he's dying. So his heart isn't strong enough to pump lymphatic fluid through his system, and it's pooling up in his legs. That's why his feet are swollen, so he's going to die soon.
That's pretty much what they're doing right now, putting their fingers in their ears as we're telling them, we're screaming at them to finally listen, finally overhaul all of their systems, and finally evolve the formula that just, it's ancient at this point, Todd and Emil. But even at launch, in regards to the bugs and performance issues with Starfield, we had Pete Hines. He spoke to GamesIndustry.biz, and at the time he said, we embrace chaos, which, the bugs, they're funny in Bethesda. That's not the case anymore. It was funny in the Skyrim and Fallout 4 days, but I think a lot of us after Fallout 76 grew to say it's unacceptable at this point. Now, The Elder Scrolls 6, the only reason why we even got that announcement around 2018 was because of Fallout 76. Bethesda has made that quite clear in interviews. They said that the reason why they wanted people to know that The Elder Scrolls 6 was indeed going to be coming down the road, it was their commitment to saying, hey, we're still going to be doing single-player story-driven experiences in the future. Fallout 76 is this one-off thing. But it was announced way too early, and as this article mentions, Elder Scrolls 6 revealed early due to fans' pitchforks and torches, which Bethesda knew the feelings, the sentiment about an online Fallout game coming from Bethesda was going to be extremely negative, and that's exactly how it was felt. And in the weeks and months to follow, once that game actually did release, it just reinforced the perspective that Bethesda had no business doing an online multiplayer Fallout game, but obviously Fallout 76 has turned it around. It took years, but they did change perceptions about the game. But I think a lot of people feel like The Elder Scrolls 6 should have been the attention years ago. And right now there is no end in sight in when this game will be releasing. All indication is that it could be a launch title for the next generation of Xbox consoles, which means 2028. That's insane. And based on how long these Bethesda experiences have been taking to develop, it probably is about 5 or so years. And then imagine a Fallout 5. That is probably 2033. And Bethesda isn't exactly growing or changing any of their structure behind the scenes, so it very is likely we're going to be waiting a long time for The Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5. But it is worth mentioning that Bethesda just last year announced that the game was in early development, and more news on it was still years away, so this just gives more indication that it probably is around 2028, probably right around the time that The Witcher 4 is arriving, which, oh boy, those comparisons that Bethesda is going to be seeing between the two games, from CD Projekt, who smartened up, said the Red Engine for them wasn't working and they wanted to go to Unreal. They made that change, which they've been working on it, and I think we're going to feel, I believe, a better experience for it. Now, if Bethesda continues with the Creation Engine, my God, imagine 5 years from now with how gaming will be, especially the standards that have already been set just in the last year or two with Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, and also Baldur's Gate 3. Bethesda, there's just no excuses when you look at the landscape, the environment, and how the industry is changing and evolving. And Bethesda is not evolving. I think that's the big problem here. But yeah, we do know that The Elder Scrolls 6 is likely taking place in Hammerfell or around that region. There's been a number of teases of it from Bethesda. We actually even saw a concept artist taking some inspiration from what you would assume would be individuals from that region. So yeah, this is going to be the direction that they're taking for the Elder Scrolls 6. Hammerfell, High Rock, that's probably the case, and there's been a number of teases. The Elder Scrolls 6 Easter egg in Starfield's trailer pretty much indicated that as well.
Did you react to the new Adobe stuff? Some cool stuff. What is the Adobe stuff?
And this is where we stand right now. Todd Howard, just a couple of weeks ago, said that the Bethesda games are irresponsibly large. We cut very little from our... Recently, we saw an ex-Bethesda design director who left during the development of Starfield. He was at the studio for years. Bruce Nesmith, he talked about Bethesda possibly shifting to Unreal Engine, and he pretty much just said it's not going to happen and it wouldn't make sense for Bethesda, which I find a crazy perspective, especially with the landscape of RPGs and what we're seeing other developers do happen. And this is where it gets rather interesting, because Bruce Nesmith went further talking about the expectations of the Elder Scrolls 6, pretty much saying that people are going to be disappointed. And in another recent interview, he said the Elder Scrolls 6 is undoubtedly going to be an amazing game, but it's going to be compared to all the previous games that Bethesda made, just like every studio's games are going to be compared to the previous products. And he continues. He goes into more detail about matching these lofty expectations while noting how games that came after Skyrim, like Fallout 4, 76, and Starfield, also had these same problems, with the best approach for developers being to manage expectations, to try and set expectations for the people who buy games. You know, the 30-year-old who's making a piece of art, who's a professional artist, he can't control the expectation because he's got all this history, you know? It's there whether he likes it or not, and the same is true of the fans who want to buy Elder Scrolls. Now, Bruce Nesmith, this lead designer at Bethesda, makes a crazy admission here in which he says Bethesda games lack polish. You don't say. And I love this PC Gamer article part here. It says, embrace the bugs. That's literally what Bethesda said. Bethesda exec, we embrace chaos. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, Bethesda is a trash fucking company. When Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, it's just going to be pure garbage. Alright, I am far too tired to keep streaming. I really have to get some sleep. Probably not going to be streaming tomorrow, so I'm probably going to take tomorrow off. There's always a chance that I could pop up online, but I'm probably going to take tomorrow off. So, make some other plans for Sunday night. Whatchamacall. Yeah, Monday I'll be back on, but I'm probably going to take tomorrow off. But big thanks to everybody who donated on Streamlabs. Really appreciate it. I'll see you all the next time, and sweet dreams.